Okay, let me know once the same is. Okay, can anyone confirm, please?
Yeah, we can see screen.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so till yesterday we talked about all the EC2 features. So we are jumping into the next the other services basically. So I'll be starting with the what is the synchronous and asynchronous communication, right? So the key difference between the synchronous and asynchronous communication is the synchronous is real time. It's like whenever happen, the next one should pick immediately, and basically it's a real time. But whereas in asynchronous communication happens on your own time and doesn't need to be scheduling, or it need not to be on a real time basis. Okay. And the when we have a synchronous communication, right? So we do not know when two servers are communicating. We do not know the second server might be down, the processing server. Then so sometimes the synchronous application can have the problems. That is where we will be having some asynchronous communication services in the AWS. So the word is what you have to remember from the exam perspective is decouple your application. So when we say decouple, it is a asynchronous communication between the your two servers basically. Let's say two servers needs to communicate. How do they communicate, right? There might be the synchronous and asynchronous communication. But if it is a synchronous, then the source server and the target server might be off or it might be down and all, right. So that there is a chance that the data might be lost, right? That's where the asynchronous communication will help. And the word here is the decouple your application. So these are the services going to help SQS, SNS, and Kinesis. So we will talk about the SQS and SNS in a detail in the further slides here. So from this slide, you have to remember when you want to decouple your system, you mean to say two servers needs to communicate. That is a decoupling your application, right? What you can do, you can process everything in a single server. But if it is a microservice based, then you will be having multiple services, right? Or multiple servers. And that is how you have to communicate one server to other server using the decoupling your application, basically. And all these services, which are these SQS, SNS, and Kinesis. These services are the AWS managed services. So these services scales independently from our application because these are the managed services by the AWS. So we will talk about the SNS and SQS services here. So what is SNS, right? The SNS stands for the simple notification service here. So what if you want to send a message, right, to a many receivers basically? So not only the sending a message to email alert or the to communicate to other services. If something happening in your AWS account, then you have to send an email notification to your customer or the whoever responsible for that application, right? So what is the service which help in AWS is that is the SNS. SNS stands for the simple notification service. It is a notification service. So anything happening within your AWS account, you can notify to some subscribers using the SNS service here. So again, SNS stands for the simple notification service. It is it manages the sending the messages to subscribers endpoint. So basically, it is a pub-sub model. PubSub model. The publishers and subscribers would be there. Whoever publishing the message to SNS topic, again SNS topic just a channel within the AWS. We have to create a topic, and publisher will sending the message to SNS topic, and whoever subscribe to this SNS topic, it will just throw a message to all the subscriber here. So pub sub. Whoever publishes the message to SNS topic and subscriber will get the email notification or the or other. It can trigger to Lambda function, SQL, HTTP or email notification, or it can send to mobile SMS through SMS as well. So again, this is a PubSub model. Publisher will send a message to SNS topic, and all the subscriber will be get a notification through the SNS here. So we talked about the publisher and the subscriber, right? So publishers also here, if you see, so publishers are the just the producer of your message, whoever producing the message. and that message will be sent to the SNS SNS, and inside of SNS we're gonna create an SNS topic here, and just that the publisher will be the producers. You can say publishers are the producer who gonna publish the message to SNS topic. Subscribers are nothing but the receivers basically from the SNS topic. If someone is subscribed to your SNS topic, then all the subscribers will get an email notification. So there are two types of SNS topics, the FIFO and the standard. So everyone know like first in, first out, right? It will be a same order. The messages comes in, it will pushes the same order. But standard, there is no guarantee that the message will be received in the same order. Maybe. Okay. So let me jump into the console and show you. SNS simple notification service. So these the SNS SQ service, these are useful for the decoupling your system or the application. So if you see in the exam word decoupling, maybe you have to think about the SNS or the SQS. So here there are so if you see from this slide, right, there are three different. One is publisher who gonna publish the message, and SNS topic. So you have to create this one SNS topic. Then you have to subscribe to your SNS topic here. Okay, so first thing is you have to create a SNS topic here, create topic. So here, as I mentioned, there are two types, right? First in, first out, FIFO and the standard. It is strictly preserve the messaging ordering. So whatever the message coming, the order, it follows the first in, first out. But the standard, it is not guaranteed that it is a best effort message ordering, but not guaranteed that it is the same order it followed. And the FIFO is exactly once message delivery. So if you have one message, it is once only delivered, but sometimes the standard at least once is delivered is guaranteed. So when we say at least, it can send a message more than one also in some time, not the regular, but at least once message is delivered. But sometimes it may push the message more than once also. Okay, so here topic name is it is easy to create a topic. Just you have to give the topic topic name. This is display name is optional, and all these are optional if you see, and just a create topic. So with creating a topic, it is a just an dummy, or you can say it is just a channel created. What you have to do, you have to create a subscription or subscriptions here, right? If you see subscription, this is where the receivers are who gonna receive the messages, whatever coming to this SNS topic. So we have to create a subscription here, create subscription, and this is a topic here and automatically comes in. The protocol is important here. The protocol is nothing but what is your the target service or who gonna subscribe to this uh, SNS topic, right? So here we have the option of email, AWS Lambda. It can integrate with the different services also. If you see here, right? HTTP endpoint or HTTPS endpoint or SMS also. So we will do one exercise with the email protocol here. The email protocol is nothing but so whatever the message, so whatever the email you're gonna give here, right? Let's say, so I'll give my email address. So I'm not able to open this email address here. Does anyone open the email address or who can share the screen right now? If you're logged in already, can you be able to share your email address? Anyone? If you are already logged in to your email address. Anyone?
Yeah, ID dot.
Sorry, Mohan. You logged in
Yes,
already in.
I am already logged in. Let's
Sorry.
check again.
We barely hear you, Mohan.
Uh, Let me
Raj, I put my
type in
Raj,
message.
I put my email address on the Zoom chat if you want.
Okay, yeah. I'm able to log in here. So. Okay, so I'll be. Okay, create subscription. Okay, can you be able to share your screen of the? Okay, so what will happen is once you do the subscription, right? Here, if you go to the topic, if you see subscription here, there is a pending confirmation is required. So what it will do is it will send an email notification
No,
to
I have not received Raj.
Mohan. Yeah, I haven't put yours actually. So I'll create a one more
Okay.
subscription.
Okay.
Yeah, Avdat, could you be able to share your screen now?
Yeah, I'll share it. Just a minute.
Okay. Mohan, could you please check now?
Yes, give me a second.
Yeah, so what will happen is, so what I have shown is there is a pending confirmation will be shown in our console. But yeah, so what you have to do is you have to confirm from your end. Let's say if I know
Yes, sir.
the someone's email address, right? I cannot go ahead and put it as a subscription, right? So before that, we need to grant, they need to grant the approval to send an email message and everything. So what you have to do here is you have to just click on confirm subscription and the blue hyperlink there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I have received. Let me confirm that. Okay.
Yeah, wait. So if you see here, right, the subscription is confirmed now. Okay. So let me share my screen. Thanks, Avdat. Let me
Yeah.
share.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, let me know once you see my screen back.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay, so you see here, right? So whenever you send an email, when you create a subscription, first this will go to the pending confirmation state, right? Then once I refresh this page, right? Now you will be seeing the topic. And you see, it is a confirmed. It means so the other he confirmed his email, right? Email subscription. So it is a confirm. But if you see, this is a Mohan's email address. So it is still a pending confirmation. Yeah, Mohan, can you please go ahead and confirm it now? And this
Yes.
protocol type is email. So it will be just the confirmed after this. Okay. So one more thing.
Uh,
So confirmed.
yes, I confirm that.
Okay. Yeah. Next thing, what we gonna do is, if you see here, so generally to this SNS topic, right? The application, the server one and server two. So let me. So if you see here, we we have a server one, let's say, and the server two. So these servers needs to be communicated one to another. How do they communicate? So this is what the decoupling the system, right? So you cannot communicate one server to other server directly, right? So maybe SNS topic. Maybe if you think of the any the Flipkart or Amazon, right? Maybe order ID or the payment information, it needs to be sent to the next the server, right? Or the next microservice you can think of. So this is how the maybe order ID or the payment information or some information needs to be sent to one server to other server in the microservice system. That is what the decoupling the system. So if you put, we can put all at one server, but that is a very problematic. Server is goes down, or the if the managing the server, the whole code at one place, it is very difficult. So that is what the microservice based architecture does. So this is what the decoupling the system. So SNS message will be sent to the server to here, right? So this is how in
One,
the
one,
build.
yeah, one question. This is on our side. So when we are configuring any SNS, so do we need to comply with try conditions or something like that? Like because we
No,
have
no,
to.
no. That will be trying by the application code side actually. So in the server one, what they'll do is they will configure this SNS topic to be used in their code side. Okay, so if once the application code, let's say the order ID, they have to write that to the SNS topic, the application team or the development team will be taking care of that. So our job from the operation side is we create SNS topic, okay, and create the SNS topic and the subscription, and will share the SNS topic ARN to the server one or the development team you can think of. So in the server one, they will configure the SNS topic ARN to be used whenever they want to write some message to the server two. In the server two, they'll read it, but this is from the application code and the journal.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So if you see here, so both are confirmed now. So this is the topic ARN. So every resource within the AWS mostly have the ARN. ARN stands for Amazon Resource Name. So this is a unique identifier within your AWS account, because if you see here, it is bind with the account ID. So if you go to the different account, the account ID is different, right? So, but it should be different. Different when we say the we cannot create a demo topic with the same name again one more, right? So it is a uniquely identifier within your AWS account. So ARN, for each resource there will be ARN created. That is Amazon resource name, the unique identifier you can think of. Okay, so this is all about the subscription. And one more thing is, here you can give the permissions, or you can the same way IAM policy, right? Here access policy is same. You can restrict who can allow it, or who can allow it, or who can access it. You can basically give the permissions or allow or deny to someone. Then how can you do that? That is using the SNS access policy here. Okay, so one more thing, generally what I was mentioning here is, generally the server one will be sending message to SNS topic, and server two will be reading. This is what the decoupling means. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll publish a message. We can publish our own. Okay, so maybe test. It's putting test. Okay, so let me ask this question. So if I publish a message to this topic, so how many, who all get the message? Who all will be receiving, only Avdat or Mohan, or both?
Both of us.
Both of us, right? So that is what the PubSub model. So whoever publish the message, if something is coming to your SNS topic, who all your subscribers are here, or subscription, whoever subscribe to your topic, all those will be getting the message. So that is what the push based method. This is a push based method SNS topic. When I say push based method, the something is coming in, it will just pushes those messages to all the subscribers. Okay, so these are the confirmed, and it needs to be confirmed stated. So the something is coming to your SNS topic, it will just pushes to your subscribers. Okay, test. Okay, once I push this, now you check. Can anyone please share your screen how it comes? So once they publish the message to your SNS topic, they'll get an email notification here, whoever subscriber is. But if it is not email notification, if it is a Lambda, then Lambda will be triggered. Yeah, I put test, right? So click on it. Okay, so if you see this, the test will be the body and test will be the subject here, right? So this is how you will get the email notification. In real time, how do we use it, right? So this is just an testing. But real time, let's say when your CPU utilization goes beyond 90%, right? Then your customer or whoever operating that AWS account, right, they needs to be get an email notification, because they should know why it is taking. They can troubleshoot it, or they can increase the resources. Right. At that time, we will do the SNS topic, so that they'll get the email notification, and they'll do all the troubleshooting, whatever needed to be taken care of there. Right. Thanks, Avdat.
No, Raj, I had a question here. So, when you're using the email subscription services, it'll basically use the SMTP server, right?
Right.
So this SMTP server is by the Amazon itself. We use the Amazon SMTP services
Amazon,
basically.
yeah, directly, yes.
So is there any provisioning, or is there a feature where a customer or a subscriber can use their own SMTP server?
Yeah, we can use our own SMTP. So generally in my organization, we'll use our own SMTP, will not use this one. But yeah, this is from the AWS perspective. The singular, only whoever subscribed, they'll get an email notification. But here we cannot use in SNS service, you're asking?
Yeah, in SNS service.
Yeah, here we do not have that option generally.
Okay.
Okay, so if you have to provide the email address only.
Okay. And can you probably give an example or a use case of where these kind of services can be used, in what scenarios this can be used?
Yeah, I just mentioned one, right? So generally, so let's say you have a EC2 instance, okay?
Mhm.
And let's say, and that is a production EC2 instance, and you have to be get notified when your utilization goes beyond 90%, or if it is a DB server,
Okay.
right? So if it is goes beyond 90%, then there is a risk that it may slow down or it may corrupt, right? If it is a or slow down basically, right?
Mhm.
So at that time, we will get an email notification. So the currently what we are doing is from our perspective, right?
Mhm.
So we will set up an email notification for the most of the production related resources, right? We don't want to take any risk. So if something is goes beyond our threshold limit, then we will get an email notification.
Mm.
Then what we're gonna do is we will troubleshoot that why it is going this much. What is the
Okay.
expected? If it is really going beyond, then what we're gonna do, we may do the scalable, maybe vertical scaling or horizontal scaling.
Okay.
But we cannot go ahead and check every resource every day, right? So that is where we're gonna set up the alerts basically from the AWS.
Okay.
Okay. So the next service would be the same kind of decoupling, but this is a push based mechanism, right? If something coming into your SNS topic, it will just push us to this the subscribers basically, but it is not holding any messages, right? Something is coming into your SNS topic, it will pushing. It is not holding any messages here. But to hold hold messages for some time, right? We will use the SQS service. So this is where it called as a pull-based mechanism here. So this SQS stands for the simple queue service. The SNS was the simple notification service, right? It is a queue service, simple queue service. The SQS allows you to send, store, and receive messages between the software components at any volume. When we say software components, maybe two servers, right? To decouple the system, maybe between two servers, it allows us to maybe send or store or receive the messages between the two servers. And this is without losing the messages or requiring the other servers to be available. So what we can do is whereas in SNS, the message is coming in and it is publisher publish the message to SNS topic, and all the receivers or the consumers will get an or subscribers get an email notification or the any other service which we talked, right? It will just alert the other services or the email notification you can say. But SQS, what SQS can do is it will hold the messages for the sometime the configuration whatever you do, it is hold the messages for the sometime, and the consumer here they will the process the messages here. So maybe I'll go to the next slide how it works, right? The producer, the same thing there as a publisher, right? Producer will producing the message and they will be sending the message to the SQS queue here. Okay. And SQS queue, the message will be stored in the SQS queue on a defined time. The setting we can do SQS queue, let's say 5 minutes. Okay. Within the 5 minutes, your consumer are the target server. So the producer is nothing but your source server. In our example, it is a server one, right? Server one, it is a producer, it is a consumer, you can think. So the producer, the server one will send a message to SQS queue, same as an SNS. But in this SQS queue, it can hold the message for some time. So within that time period, the consumer will be polling. So how it works is producer will be sending message to SQS queue and consumer or the target server will be polling the message to SQS queue saying, do you have any messages with in SQS queue? Do you have it? It frequently it poll for the messages, poll to the SQS queue, and if any SQS if any messages there, it will be processing those messages here from here. Okay. And so once these are processed, then these SQSQ messages will be deleted here. This is a delete message. Okay. Any questions here, anyone?
So, Raj, if I understand correctly, there are certain softwares or applications like say HPSM. So there's basically a monitoring software from HP, or there's another called Splunk, okay, which primarily are used for log gathering or creating
Right, right,
alerts or for monitoring,
right,
or even for say ticket generations using the
right.
logs that are given by an application. So can one such application be integrated into SQS for log collection or for any other process?
No. SQS is very, I mean, it is just to send in a small number of, I mean, it is not the big actually. I think there is a limit of 256 KB only. It should not be longer than that. We cannot integrate that basically, but it is just to, you can think of like to decouple the system, right? And nowadays, everything is not a everything is a micro based architecture, right? The small and let's say if we take the Flipkart or Amazon, so there will be so many components, right? Like orders, payments, add to cart, so different components. So when you do add to cart, that order ID or the order or the item ID needs to send to the next system for the processing, right? So in those scenarios, the IDs are the 256 KB basically, the maximum limit of message size. So those kind of small IDs are to integrate between two servers, we can use the SQS.
Basically, communicating within like multiple systems or multiple services and exchanging messages. That's
Yeah,
only, right?
that's
Or
right. That's right.
But what exactly can be a use case again here? Can you probably give an example like how this service can be used or where it can be used?
Okay, let me think. So that's what. So let's say Flipkart. Okay. So the all it is a micro based architecture, right? So let's say I have a order and I need to do a payment. Okay. So in the order and payment are two different servers. You can think of like the two different servers or two different components altogether, right? Okay. So when I do the order, it needs to have the order ID, the payment information, and everything. How much I need to pay. Okay. So now the when I go to the payment section, the payment is different component altogether than the order, right? So what order will do is order will be sending the what is the order ID, the payment information basically. This order ID and payment information will be sent in as a message to the your order component or the payment component. Sorry. Okay. Are you clear now?
Yeah, a bit, but then okay. I think I'll probably go through it more and then maybe I'll try to understand.
Okay. Yeah, maybe probably I'll come up with a good example, maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
But just to, you can think of like the to decouple the system, right? So we cannot nowadays nobody doing the what is that word? The single application. No, everything they cannot manage in a single server, right? All the code basically. It's very hard to troubleshoot and everything. So that's where the everyone following the micro service based architecture nowadays.
yeah, you can. I think the payment related option, like a payment is a separate entity that processes payment and just informs that the payment has been completed, and that is like as a message sent to
Right.
the producer itself or
That's right.
whatever the order screen itself first time.
Yeah. Yeah. So here there are three components. If you see here, the producer is nothing but whoever is producing the message or the source from where the message is being originating. The queue is nothing but where your messages are being stored here. Queue. And the consumers are the nothing but the whoever processing your messages are the target server you can think of. I think whoever needs to be receive the message, the producer who is producing the message are the source where your messages are being triggered, the queue where you are storing the messages, consumer whoever be processing the message are the receivers of these messages. Yeah. Okay. So there are again two types of the SQS queues here, same as the SNS, FIFO, and the standard. The FIFO is nothing but the first in, first out, right? The whatever the order comes in, the messages will be goes out in the same order. But the standard, there is no guarantee that these messages comes into the same order and goes to the same order. There is no guarantee, but it will make sure that the best order followed, but not guaranteed. But FIFO, it is guaranteed that the messages comes in, it will goes in the same order as well here. So let me jump into the console here. So anyone, what is SNS stands for?
Simple notification service.
SQS?
Simple queue service.
Right. Yeah. Notification.
Raj,
Uh-huh.
yeah, well, like what kind of difference there is in between these tools? Like SNS, we are subscribing, and here also I think we are the receivers
Right.
are
So
there.
the SNS is a push-based mechanism, Mohan. Okay. When we say
Okay,
push-based, something is
okay,
coming in, it will be sending a message. It is not holding any messages within the SNS.
okay. It is just relaying. And SQS also I think not like
No, no,
doing
it
anything.
will
It
hold the
is
messages for the certain period of time, SQS.
acha acha. Okay,
Okay.
fine,
So
fine,
if
fine.
your system is live, right, then the SNS will
Yes,
help. Okay. But if you want
yes,
to, if you have the large number of messages coming in, right, you have to
yes.
process those messages uh, based on your consumer, right, or the target server.
Right,
If you have less
right.
server, then you have, the messages needs to be hold for some time, right? Then the
Yes,
SQS will be
yes.
helped here.
Okay.
And if you see here, the SQS queues are queue store messages and wait for consumers to poll you. But whereas in SSS, something coming in, it will pushes the message to your the targets here.
So, so these are like already configured by default messages which are going to the users, or would it be like we can configure or we can modify, or according to our desire we can you just modify the text or something like that?
Yeah, basically you have to send the message, whatever the format you want, Divyani, but it is not the default one. These are the customized one basically.
But
The Mhm.
yeah, where is that?
It's a producer. The producers,
How do we customize this message?
when you say customized means,
Like these are the by default messages which are going right.
no. There is no by default messages will be going. Okay. So basically, if you see here, right, the same way, right, the server one and server two, the server one.
Yeah.
So server one is a producer, and this will be sending or producing the message here. So in our from our example, right, the orders one may be order ID, okay, or the payment information. Then it will send in those info to the SQS here, and the server two. This is a consumer here, and this will be, let's say it is a, this is a orders component, maybe orders component, and this is maybe a payment component. So these are both are the server and server two are the independent components, right? So this payment component should have a info how much needs to be paid and all, right, and what order or what item and all. So what orders will do is, this server will do is, it will send an order information like an the order ID or the your item ID and the your payment information. That will send to the your SQS queue. That information will be sent to SQS queue, and the payment information or a payment component will be read the from the SQL that message. What is the item ID and the order ID and the payment information? How much needs to be paid? That will read, and this will be processed. How much needs to be paid? Those kind of use cases. Okay, are you clear now?
Okay.
Raj, I just going through some Amazon links and I found a nice use case.
Uh-huh.
I've shared the link on
Can
the
you
chat,
share
on the
your
Zoom
screen
chat.
with me? Yeah.
I'll share my screen. Yeah, if you want,
Okay.
I'll do that. Yeah. So if you look here, there's a use case here. It's a typical payment system
Uh-huh.
where basically the SQS service will store the messages, and it can
Transaction
be
method.
used in two different databases. One is your customer database, the other one is the sales database. So
Hmm.
like you said, probably, the services, the Lambda services will pull the
Yeah. So yeah.
messages from
Just
the
a
SQS and
second here.
update it into the database.
Just a second out there. So
Yeah,
if you
sure.
see the after API gateway, right, there is a Lambda
Hmm.
function customer, right?
Yeah,
That is your the producer, basically
yeah,
your source system where the message being originated. The
right.
first Lambda function, right?
Yeah,
Then what that Lambda function is doing, it is sending an SQS message with the transaction details to the your SQS,
yeah.
right? Right. Then so, but just a second, I will. Okay, and then your the target Lambda function, that is a sales, right? it reads this transaction details. If you see, that is your consumer basically.
Yeah.
Okay, are you clear now, Divyani? Okay. Okay, so let me share my screen again. Let me know, guys, once you see my screen. So I am into the SQS queues here. So queues, create queue. So there is a less cost associated with this, or you can probably, if it is a free tier account, you can do, and please make sure you delete after your verification. Okay. So as I mentioned, there are two types of SQS queues, right? One is standard, second one is FIFO. FIFO stands for the first in, first out delivery message ordering is preserved. So this first in, first out is the same order message will be delivered, and it is exactly once processing, the same as the SMS, and it is at least once delivery. So it makes sure the delivery at least once, but sometimes it may deliver more than once also standard. And the best effort ordering, so it is process the in the same order, but it is a best effort order. Sometimes it can change, ordering may change here. The queue is let's say queues. The visibility timeout, I'll be just putting the default values here. The encryption. Let's see. Yeah, that's all. It is easy to create SNS and SQS here. Okay, you can do the SNS subscription also, but here what you can do, let's see if let's see this. So if you can see if any message comes to your queue, you can see it here. Okay. Send a message here. Okay, now you see I sent in one message with the test, and if you see here poll for messages, so how to reach here, right? So let's come to your SQS and send and receive message. Click on this button, and here you can see the poll for messages. You can send one message here. You can type some message and send message, and here you can see the poll for messages, and you can click on message here. So it will be in the body. It is just a test we send, so it is just test. So we can delete this one, and later we will be integrating this with the S3 service. That is where I covered the service at the starting. But any questions, anyone for now? We will do again SQS queue along with the S3s. So we'll come here again. Any questions, anyone?
So Raj, I always wonder if we have to compulsory or mandatorily use only the Amazon provided services for all kind of applications or projects that we do, or can we integrate our custom applications as well? So when I say that, this typical scenario where we saw that the information was getting updated into the Aurora database, right?
Right.
Now this Aurora database is an AWS proprietary database,
Correct.
right? So
Right.
instead of that, can I integrate or can I use my own, say, Oracle database,
Right.
which is probably hosted on a server, on a third-party server, nothing to do with Amazon. It's a completely different server, or say a VMware server that's hosted in my data center. Can I integrate this kind of a service, Amazon service, with one such own service or own server or own database?
Right. We can do that generally.
Okay.
So
Mhm.
this is always possible to have a not only in the cloud or the on-prem, right? It's
Right,
something it is possible to have the hybrid environment as well, the on-prem plus cloud,
right.
or you can use the if you said that is a Oracle database, that you can use there is a RDS supported Oracle as well. You can
Hmm.
use that. Or if it is hosted on your on-prem, you can configure that as well. That is pretty much possible. The hybrid basically.
Okay.
Okay, so let's jump into the next service. So please pay attention here. So again, this is the way we covered the EC2, right? The same way S3 is important for the exam perspective. So we will talk about the S3. So does anyone know what is S3 stands for?
It's their simple storage service.
Storage.
Yeah, 3S basically simple storage service.
I see they mention the simple word a lot of places, like simple storage service, simple notification service, but nothing seems to be really simple here.
But yeah, this S3 is simple. But those are very easy to create, right? S3 or SNS or SQS. So their word, their naming convention would be something like this. So most of the services, simple, and starts with simple.
Yeah.
The elastic. You will say these two words maybe.
Yeah.
Elastic load balancer, elastic compute cloud.
Yeah.
And elastic cache. So there are some services which starts with these common words basically.
Okay.
Okay. So S3 stands for the simple storage service. 3S basically simple storage service. Okay. So this is the one of the first services from the Amazon side. So we talked about, so we forgot to talk one thing here, the SQS. So does anyone remember from the day one, what is the first service from the Amazon?
IAM.
No.
The first service
First
from
service. The first service is SQS only. They build the first service was this one only, the SQS. Okay. And the later part, they started with the EC2 and the S3. Okay. So this is the one of the main building blocks of AWS actually, because this can integrate with the any pretty much every other service within the AWS. Okay. And this is one of their backbone service because it can communicate or it can connect to any other service within the AWS, as I mentioned. Okay. And it is advertised, S3 is advertised as the infinitely scaling storage, because if you can think of like, right, we can store of a single object size of the 5 terabyte of a single object, but you can store any number of objects, such kind of objects. So there is no storage limit within the S3. You can store any number of objects here. So you can think of like it is a serverless that you just need to create a bucket. We will talk about what is bucket and all. You'll just upload your files into the S3 bucket and it can store single object of, if anyone asks you what is the maximum size of a single object, not the whole S3 bucket, it is a single object size is 5 terabytes. So we will talk about what is S3, right? So the S3 again stands for the simple storage service. It's an object-based storage service here. So where we see in the EC2, right, those are the OS and all, but here it is just a objects. When we say objects, you can just upload your files. It supports the pretty much every file formats here, but you can just upload the files. That's all. Not you can install your OS and everything within the S3 buckets, right? So it is just an object-based storage, and that offers so as I mentioned, it's scalable, very scalable service. And you can retrieve the definition of S3 is you can store any number of objects and you can retrieve any amount of data anytime from anywhere, basically over the internet actually. Okay, you store the object and you retrieve those objects basically from the S3 bucket. And so we will talk about the different terms within the S3 bucket. So if you see here, S3 buckets, okay, bucket is nothing but you can correlate this with the directory within our server maybe, or our system, or the laptop, right? So the S3 allows to store the files in the buckets. So we will talk about the the S3 terminology or AWS terminology. Objects are nothing but the files. The bucket is nothing but the directories. So here S3 is a bucket. So bucket is nothing but you can think of the directory. You create a directory within our the laptop, right? The same way S3 bucket is nothing but the directory, and S3 object is nothing but we upload a file, right? It is equivalent to file. So in S3 terminology, whenever you say bucket is, you can think of it is a directory. And when we say object is nothing but the file. here. Okay, and this bucket must be have a globally unique name across all regions, because this is a this has a one URL basically. So as it has the URL, it should be unique over the uh, all over all the AWS accounts. So let's say if I go ahead and create with the test bucket, if the test is already assigned to someone, I cannot create a bucket with the same name. That is where it is a globally unique name, because it is bound with an URL. The URL cannot be duplicated, right? That is where you have to create a bucket with the unique name here. And these buckets are a regional level. But earlier it was a global service, but it is a regional service. So don't confuse here. I'll show you that in the console. And it should be created within the region now. Okay. So the naming convention of S3 bucket, right? So no uppercase letter, no underscore. So it should be 3 to 63 characters long, not an IP address, and must start with the lowercase letter or the number. So these are the some conditions, but always you think like there is no uppercase, no underscore, and this much long you can use. And so we talked about the buckets, right? Buckets are nothing but the directories you can think of, or the folders you can say, but not equivalent. But buckets, if you heard bucket is nothing but an directory you can think of. The objects within the S3 bucket, right? So objects are nothing but the files basically. So these objects are stored within your S3 bucket. So objects is nothing but the files, and it has a key actually. Key is nothing but the full path. So when you create and upload a file, right? So this is the, so one more word here, bucket, object, and key. Key is nothing but the full path. Full path from your bucket to the, this is the bucket, right? S3 colon, this is the bucket name, and this is the object name. So this both your object and bucket and object, this makes the full path or the key here. So three words here, the bucket, object, and the key here. And the key is composed of the prefix plus the object name here. So this object name could be your S3 bucket, then the folder. So this whole URL known as the key here. And there is no concept of the directories within the bucket, because it is just a, if you say this is the bucket and this is the object path here. And as I mentioned, the max object size is 5 terabytes. The single max object size, this is a single object size. Okay. And if you are uploading more than 5 GB, must use a multi-part upload. We'll talk about this multi-part upload shortly in the next slides here. And how do you secure your S3 bucket? So can anyone tell me how can we secure our EC2 instances?
Security groups.
Right. The same way, the S3 also can be secured using the maybe user-based, maybe IAM policy, or the resource-based, the bucket policy. The bucket policies are nothing but the, whenever you see the policies are nothing but the permissions only, right? So the who can access it, who cannot access it, you can give the all the policies there, and you can mention those policies. And you can encrypt these S3 buckets. We will see in the detail in the coming slides here. And the bucket policy. So again, the policies are nothing but permissions only, right? The same way we write the IAM policy, same thing, effect, action, and resource. The main three, right? Effect could be allow or deny. The action could be what actions or what API call it needs to be done on the particular resource type. If you say star here, star is nothing but the wildcard here. But if you say you can limit this to the minimal permissions, right? So what AWS suggests is always give the least privileged permissions, whatever required. Do not give it full permissions, right? So you can give the least privilege or the less API calls. Let's say someone wants to read your S3 objects. You can give only read permissions. Do not give them the write permissions, because always suggested to give the least permissions only, right? So these are the important terminology within the resource. Resource are nothing but the buckets or objects here. What bucket they can read, or so if you have the multiple bucket, then you can limit them to the single S3 bucket here. The effect could be allow or deny. The action is a set of API calls that can be allowed or denied. The action is a set of API calls that can be allowed or denied. The effect could be allow or deny. The action is a set of API calls that can be allowed or denied. The action is a set of API calls that can be allowed or denied. The effect could be allow or deny. The action is a set of API calls that can be allowed or denied. The action is a set of API calls that can be allowed or denied. The effect could be allow or deny. The action is a set of API calls that can be allowed or denied. The action is a set of API calls that can be allowed or denied. The effect could be allow or deny. The action is a set of API calls that can be allowed or denied. The effect could be allow or deny. The action is a set of API calls that can be allowed or denied. The effect could be allow or deny. The action is a set of API calls that can be allowed or denied. The effect could be allow or deny. The action is a set of API calls that can be allowed or denied. The effect could be allow or deny. The principle is if you put star, it means everything here. And this S3 bucket policy can give the grant the public access to the bucket. The same way we created a security group, right? 000 that can anyone can read. Same way you can grant the public access to the bucket using the bucket policy only. Not only the grant public access, what you can do here is you can force the object to be encrypted at upload. So you can put here condition. You see the condition section here, but it is high level. But you can put some condition so that if the objects are not encrypted, then it will be denied to upload those objects within your S3 bucket. Okay, and with using the bucket policy, we can do so many things here and grant access to another account, cross account permissions also you can give using your bucket policies here. Okay, any questions so far, anyone? Okay. So using the bucket policy, what I mentioned, you can use the public access using the bucket access, bucket policy basically. So, and user access to S3, how do you user can access IAM user? So how IAM user having the access to the S3 service? Can anyone tell me? So by default, we will be not having, let's say you created IAM user. Okay. So how can you give permissions to your S3 bucket maybe? How he is able to access?
I didn't get permission to his like account only.
Yeah, you need to add the policy, right?
Policy, yes.
Okay, so if you add the administrator policy, right? Administrator access policy, that is a full access. Okay, if someone give that access, then he can read everything within your AWS account, right? But if you do not mention that, then he'll be not having access to your IAM. So let me go to the IAM. Then I'll go to the users. I'll go to the demo user. Okay. So if you see here, this is an administrator access, right? So it means he can read everything. But if you want to give only specific permissions, let's say attach policies directly, S3. So if you say S3 full access, he can only be having S3 full access only. Okay, if you see here S3 full, if I remove this one, then if you log in with this user, demo user 2, then he will be not, except S3, he will not be having access to any other service. Okay, everyone clear on this? That is a IAM user permissions basically.
Yes.
Right? So user access to S3 using the IAM permissions only. When we say user, that is a IAM user. And how EC2 instance can access to your S3 bucket? Both are two different services, right? EC2 is a different service and S3 is a different service. How EC2 can be able to access to your S3 buckets?
Creating a role
Right.
which will have access to EC2 and S3 both.
Right. So you have to create a role and give the right permissions again, right? Right policy you need to attach. Like we add the S3 policy now, right? The same way, if you attach the S3 policy, then that IAM role can be able to access to your S3 bucket, and EC2, basically EC2 can be able to access to your S3 bucket. Right now you are integrating different services from one service to other service, right? And if you wanted to give the cross account permissions for your S3 bucket, uses the bucket policy, but we haven't seen that yet. So okay, the same way, what you can do, you here block the public access. Basically, in general, in the organization, we will not allow someone to access our S3 bucket because those are not public, right? So if it is in an organization, then it should be a private. So we will block the public IP address to the buckets basically. But if we will see how to block those or how to enable the public access for this bucket. And from the exam perspective, these settings were prevent the company data leaks, right? So you cannot, if it is within the organization, you cannot put that as a public read access, right? So that is where we'll block the public access to the RS3 buckets. If you know your bucket is never be public in an organization, then leave these on. So we will see how to set this one, and can be set at the account level. So you can set to account level, so that all the buckets within your account all will not be public anymore. Okay, so using the S3, we can host the static website hosting within few clicks. We will do that. So the static website is nothing but if you have this some HTML content needs to be shown. Let's say the application is down or the maintenance. If you want to show those kind of pages, you can put a simple HTML document there, and you can show this using the static website hosting. So we will see how to create a static website posting in the console. But the one troubleshooting is, if you get a 403 forbidden error, make sure that the bucket policy allows the public reach. We will see how to do this one. But any questions so far on the S3 side or TV side? Anyone?
So Raj, when you give the IAM role to an S3 bucket, or the IAM permission to an S3 bucket to access the S3 bucket, won't it give the IAM user access to all the S3 buckets? Is there a way to limit the user
Yeah,
to access
there is
only
a
certain
limit.
buckets?
There is a limit, yes. Okay, so let's say, so this is the IAM user, right?
Right.
So create inline policy. Here, maybe JSON. So here in the resource, right, you have to mention which S3 bucket needs to be limited. So let me go here.
Okay, so basically you give the S3 full permission, and then again probably drill it down to a specific bucket.
That's right. So it's
Okay.
always depends on you can give a single permission also. Okay. When you say S3 stars, it is a wildcard, right? The full permissions. But
Okay.
you can restrict to resource. Resource is nothing but what resource, what S3 resource basically. So I have 4 S3 buckets here. So if I put here star, right, it means it is applicable to all 4 S3 buckets here, right?
Yeah.
So as you mentioned, if you want to limit it to the single bucket, right? Right. So here, let's say you can, so this is the ARN, right? So I was talking about Amazon resource name. Now it is only applicable to this S3 bucket only. Okay. I cannot, or this one cannot, IAM user cannot able to see all other 3 buckets here. When he log into the console, right, he can able to see the only S3, this S3 bucket. He really cannot see the all other S3 bucket. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say if you want to narrow down to only read permissions, okay. Let's say get permissions, get start. So all starting with the he'll get only. But he cannot really upload an object to this S3 bucket. So you can narrow down basically. So that's what the least privileged permissions, right? Always gives the least permissions only. Do not give him the more than whatever they required actually.
Okay. Okay, just one more thing. Can you make these ARN names more user friendly?
No.
Can you
So
change
these
the
are
names?
these are the readable format actually. I'll let you know how it forms. Okay. So if you take any ARN, okay, it starts with the ARN. So okay.
Or maybe let me put it the other way around. Can you give it an alias or something? So for example, I'm
No,
creating
we
a
cannot,
bucket for,
no.
okay.
Okay, so these are the, so if you get to know, right, then these are very, these are the readable format only of that. So I'll explain you. So let me open 2 different services here. Okay, this is the ARN, right? If you see here and there, right? So it starts with this is a S3 ARN, okay? And this is the SQS ARN, if you see here. Or I'll put it into the notepad. Okay, so it always starts with the ARN. ARN stands for all small letters basically. ARN stands for the Amazon resource name, right? ARN colon AWS, same thing, right? AWS, then the service name, whether it is a SQS or S3. Okay, then the 1 column, there is a 1 column, 2 column, 3 column, it based on the which service type, whether it is a regional service or the global service. Okay, then it is a regional service, right? The first one, then 1 column, then your region name, then colon your account ID, then colon your SQS name. But if it is a global service, right? It is a global service. So ARN AWS colon S3, then all columns, then directly your name, resource name, basically. The same as the MySQL. So if you see here, there are 3 columns, right? Okay, so if it is a global service, right, there is no need to put the region name and your account ID. Directly name 1, 2, 3, 3 columns. Then your.
So basically, if I'm creating a bucket for, say, a business unit for developers, I
Hmm.
cannot give it a name, something like say developer
No,
bucket or bucket for developers, nothing like that.
You can give that, but yeah, there will be a bucket. This is the bucket name, okay?
So can I change that? Can
I
I change
think
that
this
bucket
name
name?
is uniquely generated. Okay.
Uniquely generated. You have to give a
Yeah,
unique
this
name,
is
globally
generated
unique
name.
name.
ARN is generated, and what you may I am like asking, no, you can mention that
only
developer bucket, developer hyphen bucket, in the, like
Correct.
while
Yeah, yeah,
creating the bucket, right?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that we can do, right?
Yeah, that we can do. Basically,
Yes,
this is a automatically created one. We're gonna create one based on this name we can customize out the.
Okay, fine.
Okay. So this is a just auto-generated one. So you are seeing this ID, but generally this part we can control.
Okay.
The selected part.
Okay, fine. Yeah, that's what I mean. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Yeah, so let me jump into the S3 console. So please pay attention. So we're gonna do so many actions within the S3 bucket. So first thing is create bucket. I have few buckets, but the first thing is go to the S3 consoles. Okay, buckets. So bucket is nothing but again you are creating a directory, a top directory you can think of. Okay, the create bucket. So earlier it was a global service, but now they are choosing they made it as a regional service. So think of like it is a regional service now, right? So general purpose, and this is a new. So anything new, please do not worry about them because exam will not reflect immediately whatever there is a new. So just think of like general purpose for now. Okay. So what I wanted to do is I was mentioning this, right? The name of a bucket should be globally unique, right? So if you see here, this should be a globally unique name. Okay. So I wanted to create a bucket with the test and I'll go here and create a bucket. Okay. You see here, the bucket with the same name already exists. Okay. It should be a globally unique name because once we create a bucket, there will be a URL with that, right? So we cannot have a duplicate URL with basically over the internet, right? So that is where it should be unique. Okay. So let me try to create this one. So does anyone guess why it won't be created? So if you remember, right?
naming convention. I think.
Sorry?
It's not allowed. Naming convention.
Naming convention, right?
Saying uppercase not allowed.
Uppercase letter. So there shouldn't be any uppercase letter here. So if you see here 3 to 36, then there consists only the lowercase letters, right? Okay, so demo. Let's see if someone not taken this. Yes, list icon 1. Generally, if you put your region name, right, most of them are not being taken. But let's see if it is taken, then we'll make it some more customization here. Okay, so then the your bucket type, your bucket name, and the ownership. So ACLs are disabled, but it is recommended. So ACLs are not being used nowadays. The bucket policy is effectively being used with the S3 bucket. So we'll see how that will be created. Okay. Then this is what we were talking, right? Block public access setting for the S3 bucket. So when you tick right tick, when you ticked it, then the block all public access. So no one can read basically from outside. So it's always needs to be ticked here. But when you untick it, there is a warning. Okay, so take this one. And bucket versioning, we will talk about this. And encryption, we will talk. And just that, create a bucket. Let's see if. Okay, yeah, we have no one taken the May demo. US East one bucket. Okay, now it's you see, this is the bucket name. I'll make it first. So bucket name, then the which region it is being created. And let's go inside of the bucket here. Okay, so bucket is nothing but what we from the theory part, bucket is nothing but a directory, right? But now you have to upload a object within that. So you see objects are nothing but the files within, you can upload within your S3 bucket. Okay. So I'm going to upload a object here. There is a upload button, upload. And here you can drag and drop here files, but I can add the files here. Or what you can do here, you can add the folder inside of your S3 bucket also, right? So let me add a file here. Okay, so here, what is the destination? So this is the destination bucket we are uploading within the S3 bucket. So just upload. Okay, so let me go to the bucket. You see now object is one. Objects are one. Objects are nothing but your files within your S3 bucket. Okay. Now select this one, and what you can do, you can open this one. Okay, so now you see there is a the object. I am able to load the object here, right? So using the open, but if you click on your object, right, there is a URL object URL also assigned to this one, right? If you see here object URL, so this is where you don't want to, the URI is created, right? You don't want to create a same bucket with the duplicate name because the URL is same. So if I give this URL to you, you can be able to access unless, but if it is not public yet, but once we make it public, then you can be able to access this URL. So as this is a forming the URL with your bucket name, that is where it shouldn't be a the duplicate name among all the customers within the AWS. So always it should be a unique name. Okay, so let's see this object URL. Okay, you see it here, access denied, because it is not a public, right? So no, I'm not able to access within this URL. But why I am able to access this using this open button, right? Here, open button, right? It is generating a pre-signed URL here. Pre-signed URL saying this is a I created object, right? So it is authorizing that I am only accessing this object, and I am authorized to access this object using this open. But this object URL, we do not know who gonna access it. So that is where we are not able to access. We are getting the access denied error here. So how do you access using this object URL, right? The way is you have to create a bucket policy, right? If you remember, there is a public bucket is not public yet, so we will make that public now. Okay. Now the buckets, go to your bucket, permissions, here, edit edit public access here, and save changes. So you have to confirm this, and always read the warnings, what it is saying. Will affect this bucket and all objects within. So it is saying you're making your bucket and objects are public. So you have to just confirm it. Confirm. So this is done. Now, if you see here, block all public access is off. Yeah. What you have to do next, you have to give a bucket policy. By bucket policy is nothing but the security groups or IAM policy, right? You have to make it, everyone can read this one. So how do you generate your bucket policy, right? So there are, we have some example here. If you see here, policy example, if you see this symbol always, it is always open in a new tab. Okay, so you can leverage there are so many examples around it. You can leverage those examples, or you can generate a policy yourself here. Policy generator, click on this. So using this one, we can generate so many policies here. If you go to here, maybe IAM policy, right? You can generate IAM policy for any service, but we are interested in creating a S3 bucket policy here. The effect should be allow or deny. The principal, I'll put star for now. And the AWS service is S3 because it is a S3 bucket policy. The actions, these actions are nothing but what are the IAM what are the S3 actions you can do on this S3 bucket. So we will put only get object. Get object is nothing but we can read the object for now. So get object. Okay, only one action. You can select the all action. It means when you select the all action, that is a full permissions on your S3 bucket. So Avdat, you were asking which you can limit to some single S3 bucket, right? Yes, we can do that. The bucket ARN, take the bucket ARN, go here. And this, when you copy this one, this is at the bucket level. But when you put /star, it is inside of your buckets. It's nothing but the all the objects within your S3 bucket. So if you see here, we put here, yeah, path, right? So bucket ARN, this is the bucket just, not the ARN. Then /star, it is nothing but the all the objects within your S3 bucket. So you have to put at the end /star. It means everything within your bucket. So click on add statement and generate a policy. Copy this. Save changes. Now, if you see, if you go back to the objects, click on object, and now you see you are able to access R. Let's load this. Okay, everyone clear on whatever we did? Or you want me to repeat one?
Okay.
Yes, Mohan?
No, not an issue. So basically, we have made it public and we can access by like URL only, right?
Right. So how do you make it public? Go to the permissions tab. So here on the buckets, right? So there are so many tabs within the S3 bucket. Click on your bucket, then go to the permissions tab. First, I disabled the block public access so that everyone can access it. Basically, I'm making it to everyone can able to access it, right? So I just edited here and disabled this one. Okay, the first thing I did. The second thing is the public bucket policy. I need to generate the bucket policy. What I can do, I have the few different options. You can leverage the examples here, or you can generate a policy by yourself here. So I go to the policy generator here and selected the S3 bucket policy. Allow the principal is star. Then S3 action for now, let's put all actions. Then the ARN, you have to give the your bucket ARN actually. So if you go to the edit bucket policy, there will be a bucket ARN here. Come here. And put the /star here. So that everything within the your S3 bucket can access it. So generate policy. So this is the bucket policy. Now, if you see here, action is S3 star, but the old one is, it is a S3 get object only. Okay, everyone clear on this?
Yes.
Right? Yes, no, please. Everyone clear?
Yes, Raj.
Okay.
Yes, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, any confusion there, Libyani, or anyone? Or if you want me to give you an overview, I can repeat that.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
Always.
So yeah, the first thing we did is we come to S3 buckets here and created a bucket. Okay. And
Yes.
this bucket name should be globally unique. You cannot create a bucket which is already been taken. So we just now taken the May demo US East 1 bucket, right? You cannot create the with that name bucket again. Okay. Then we just leave everything on. So block public also on here, and we just created a bucket. Okay. So once the bucket is created, we try to upload an object within the S3 bucket. So objects was 0, then click on upload, and you can add a file here, maybe pick 2, and select the object or the file here and upload. So once you upload the object, the object is uploaded. But once you click on the open tab, you will be able to open it because of there is a pre-signed long pre-signed URL will be generated here. If you see, there is a long string will be generated. It is basically authorizing that the whoever created this object, they are accessing it. But along with your once you upload it, then there is a object URL will be created. Okay, so this once this is created, once you able to access this one, right, then by default you will be not able to access this object until and unless you make your bucket as public and you have the bucket policy created there. So the next thing is block public access. I disabled this one, right? So it is not a block public access is disabled now. Then you added the bucket policy here, saying bucket policy. There are two options. You can generate a policy here or the policy example. But while generating a policy, you have to make sure that the ARN/star, when we say /star, everything within your bucket. Okay. So inside of bucket, you're giving the permissions within your bucket. So when you say bucket, till here only. But when you say within the bucket, all the objects within your bucket. So that's what we did. And once you do that, then once you try to access this one, then you are able to access your objects using the that object URL. And once you create the bucket, why it is unique, right? Because it is forming an object URL, right? So you cannot have a duplicate URL over the internet, right? So that is where it should be globally unique, the bucket. Okay, everyone clear now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, the next thing what we did, so we talked about the static website, right? So I'll create one static website and you see how easy to create a static website. So what you have to do, it is a properties tab. Now we are jumping into this is an objects tab, right? We are jumping into the properties tab here. Scroll all the way down here. There is a static website hosting here. So what you have to do, edit and static website hosting, enable. Then once you enable it, there is a host a static website. Yes. The index document is nothing but what is your static content it needs to be shown. So
Sir, why is it mentioning static website? Any particular reason for that?
It is not a dynamic actually. You can show just a static content. Static content, when we say there is a index.html, right? Or the HTML page, basically. Let's say you have the maintenance. Okay. What you have to show, that is not a dynamic, right? So you have a maintenance for 1 hour, let's say. What you have to show them, it is this server or this application under maintenance for the next 1 hour. That the content will be same, right? For the 1 hour. In those scenarios, you can go ahead and use the static content, basically this website.
Okay.
Okay. So this is a index that I have a simple HTML page, not more, but it is just a content have. So we will upload that and see. Okay. So this is easy to enable. Then the host a static website, index.html, and that's all. And in case of error, you can have the different page. You can upload it here. In case of error, you can add the error.html page also. Okay, so now there is a URL again, right? You see, but can anyone guess whether it works or not? Right? Do we have the index.html in our S3 bucket?
No.
No, right? That's why we are getting 404 error, right? Not found error. So let's upload.
Page not found.
Yeah. Upload and the index.html. I have
but all the websites would be dynamic only, no? Like
no. This is different. So this is not a dynamic website. If you have a static website or static content needs to be shown, then this is a simple setting, right? Right?
Yeah, correct.
For the dynamic, this is not the option. You have the EC2 and Lambda and other options, but this is just for the static website. That is what the name is indicating, static website hosting only.
Okay.
Okay, so now let's refresh this page. I uploaded the index.html. Now see. Okay, so you have a static content website now, the static website hosting. Within few clicks, you can upload a file, right? Or you can create a static website content here. Okay, this is one. And not only the index.html, you can configure any other objects there. So if we go to the properties again, all the way down, edit. Instead of index.html, you will png. Okay, otherwise, I do not have this, so let's see. So not only index.html, you can give any objects here. Pick one.png and let's refresh this page. Now you see, you can put any objects basically here, and that object will be loaded using the static website hosting here. So any questions, anyone? Static website.
No, clear to me.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next thing is here. Okay, versioning. So what you can do is you can enable the versioning for your file. So let's say the way the Git works, right? The versions your each and every commit, right? So let's say you did commit one today, commit to tomorrow. It will save all the versions of the commits or the code basically. The same way you can version all the objects here using the versioning setting here. And the versioning is enabled at the bucket level. Okay, so if we enable the versioning at the bucket level, then all the objects within your S3 bucket are versioned. And what it does is it just overrides the changes to the version 1, 2, 3. So it will just saves or shows the latest version of your file, but we can see all the versions of your file by enabling the simple option there. But once you enable the versioning, you can basically versioning your file or versions your file. Let's say today you uploaded version 1, tomorrow version 2, version 3. So it will versions your file basically the same way Git does, right? The versioning. So the same thing here. And it is a best practice to version your buckets because so in general, everyone what they do is they will enable the versioning in the production environment. As it is an important one, they'll enable the versioning in the production environment, but we can do in lower environment also, but not needed because those are not the important files, right? Not needed, but it is important to enable the versioning in the production environment because the versioning not only versions your file, but it protects against the unintended deletes also. So what you can do, if someone deletes the object, if versioning is enabled, we can restore those objects basically. So how to do that? We'll see that from the console. This is easy to roll back to the previous version. Let's say the version 1, 2. Today we created a version 1. Tomorrow we created a version 2. And version 2 is not working fine. And we wanted to roll back to version 1. What we can do, if versioning is enabled, this is very easy to roll back to the previous version using once you enable the versioning here. And if you any file that is enabled or uploaded before versioning is enabled, the version is null. This is important to remember, guys. I'll show this from the console as well. If you see any file that is versioned prior to the enabling the versioning, will have a version as null. I'll show that from the console as well, but this is important to remember from the exam perspective. And what you can do versioning is once you enable the versioning, the suspending version is only the option is suspend the versioning only, not the delete the versioning. So once you suspend the versions also, it does not delete the previous versions. So for the better understanding, I'll show these 2 points from the console. So let me go back to the okay. So here, what I'll do is I just need to enable what I have to do, enable the versioning here. Okay. So you see here bucket versioning, go to the properties. So this is just a bucket overview where you created what is your ARN and when did you create this. Then the second option is versioning. So edit the versioning. Okay, here you see the suspend or the enable. So the suspend is nothing but once you enable it, there is no delete option. Instead of delete, there is a suspend only. Okay, save changes. The versioning is enabled now. Okay, so once you enable the versioning, go to the objects now. Here there is a show version bucket. The button is enabled. So if you see, if show version, this is the version ID is now. So as these objects are uploaded before the versioning is enabled, then the version ID is null. This is what this point is saying. Any file that is version prior to the enabling the versioning will have the version as null. Okay. The second point is suspending the versions does not delete the previous versions. So you enable the versioning now. If you suspend it, right, it will not delete the older version of the whatever the versions they did earlier, they will not be deleted automatically. Okay. So now what I'll do is I have index.html here, right? So, and if you show the versions here, this is a null. What I'll do is I'll upload the same file again, index.html. Now you'll see what will happen here. So I'll just upload it. Okay. Let me go back to S3 bucket here and show the versions here. Now you see here, there is a same version ID. This is the null, right? This is the old one where we have uploaded at the 11.4, the old time. But this is the now 11.11 we have uploaded just now. Now you see the version ID is enabled here. Okay. But now what I wanted to do is I wanted to roll back to my previous version. Okay. So for the better understanding, what I'll do, I'll just delete this one for now. You have to type permanently delete for the deletion. I wanted to show something here. Now, if I go back, right, so I have only the old version of file. And what I'll do here is create a duplicate tab. For this, let me go back to the static website posting. Let's start. Let me go to so now it is a hello from S3 new by static website. So now I wanted to edit this file. So this is the the index.html page. So hello from S3. Versioning testing. Okay, so I'll just save this file. And what I'll do is I'll re-upload that file to the S3 bucket now. Okay, so there is a versioning testing, right? Now let me reload this page. Now you see there is a versioning testing. This is uploaded. Okay. Now, if you go back to your S3 bucket, there will be a new version will be created here, right? With the versioning testing. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to roll back to my previous the old where it is saying the S3 new, right? Not this one. The versioning in place of versioning testing, I wanted to roll back to the just a new. So how do you roll back, right? What you have to do is you have to select the versions here, select versions and delete the particular version here. So once you click on the delete here, you're deleting this version ID. This version is nothing but the latest version, right? So here, let's see, permanently delete. And if we go back to your S3 bucket and we see there is the latest version was deleted. If I refresh this page, can anyone guess what content will come here? Any
The
guesses?
earlier content, the earlier index file.
Old content, right? Basically.
Old content, S3
Yeah.
new.
So yeah. So it is rolled back to the previous version. Now you see the easy way to roll back, right? In case of any errors, it is easy to roll back to your previous version, right? So this is where you have to enable your versioning. Okay. Now one more thing, what I'll do is I'll disable this one. Okay. So we have from the theory part, we said it is easy to recover from the unintended deletions, right? So let me select this one and I'll delete this one. Okay. So type delete. Okay. If I go to the console, it seems like the index.html is deleted, right? But how do you recover your the unintended deletions here, right? Now go to the show versions here. Now there is a delete marker is created on top of this. Okay. So how do you recover this object is select this delete marker object and delete the delete marker. Okay, so now here delete. Now if I go back to the my objects, then index.html page will be recovered here. Okay, any questions anyone here? How did we do the delete marker deletion? Okay, now if I refresh this page, now you'll see the same content. It is recovered, right? But do not select this and delete. If you're selecting this one and deleting, it means you're deleting a particular object. So whenever you say permanently delete, it is deleting permanently, okay? But if you do not select this one, show versions, and if you're deleting, now you'll see the only delete option, not the permanently delete. So whenever you say delete here, right? Delete, then, and if you go back to your S3 bucket, show versions, now delete marker will be created on top of this. And if you delete this delete marker, then the object will be recovered automatically. So delete, permanently delete, and this object will be recovered. Okay. Now I'll go to the show versions now and select the pick one here. So if I delete this one, can anyone guess, can I be able to recover this object? Any guesses, anyone?
I think if you delete permanently, you won't be able to because there's no version for this big file.
That's right. That's right. So you always look for show versions, right? If you type show versions here, select and delete. When you are deleting, there is a particular version ID, you will be deleting it. Okay. But if you do not select this one, right? Let's say you do not select this one and here select this and there is no version ID here. It means you're making a delete marker here. Delete objects. Okay, if you go back and show this one, there will be a delete marker created for the pick1.png. What you have to do, you have to select this and delete the delete marker. Permanently delete and delete this one. Then if you go back to your S3, then this will be recovered. But if you show versions here, let's say this one and delete. Can I be able to recover this object now? Once I delete?
Yes.
No.
Can I be able to?
Yeah, because you're deleting only the marker, right?
No. This is a version ID is null, right? That is done already.
If you delete permanently, then you won't be able to.
Yeah,
Yes.
if it is a show versions, okay, select this object, delete.
So you mean like version ID, if it is null, it will get permanently deleted?
No, not exactly, Divyan, actually. So I'll show that also, okay? But this one, okay. Show versions. So what I'll do, I'll upload a one more objects, maybe two more. Let's say pick one. So I have uploaded one more of the pick one here. If you go back to here, pick one, now you see this is a new one. Let me upload one more here. Now every time there will be a version ID assigned to it. So the same way the git commit does, right? The versions, and the every time versions are the same thing here. The pick one, if you see, every time versions will be deleted. Versions will be created here. So not only null here, actually, if you select this one, right? If I wanted to delete this one, then this particular version ID will be deleted permanently here. Okay, if I go back to here, show versions, now you will see only two versions here now, right? I can delete the null one also here. Now the version ID, which version ID you are deleting, it is showing here. Okay, everyone clear on this? Because the exam will test you on this for sure. So how do you recover your objects once it is deleted, right? So it is you have to delete the delete marker. Okay, so the show version, this is the button here. You have to enable or disable. But everyone clear on this or any questions?
Clear from my side.
Yeah, okay. I mean, like clear, not a problem.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Next, we will talk about the S3 replication, basically the CRR or the SRR. The CRR stands for the cross region replication. Region replication RR, cross or the same region. Cross region replication or the same region replication, basically. So what you have to do, the prerequisite for the replication is you must enable the versioning in source and destination buckets. Okay. So what is the meaning of this one, right? So always, let's say you upload a file in one S3 bucket. Okay. And you want to copy that file automatically to your secondary bucket or the production bucket. Let's say you uploaded a file in dev bucket that needs to be automatically uploaded to the your QAS bucket. How do you enable or how do you automate this one, right? Using the same region or the cross region replication based on the where your buckets are created. Okay. And these buckets can be in the different AWS accounts also, not necessarily be in the same AWS account. This could be in the different AWS account also. And this copying will be done asynchronously. So in the background, it will be happening, not the real time. It takes a few seconds to reflect into the source and target bucket. And to work this cross region replication or the same region replication, you should have a proper, or you should give the proper IAM permissions. So always think in AWS, you should give the right IAM permission. Then only the both services or the two different services or the two different components will be communicated each other using the IAM permissions only. The way IAM user can communicate to the S3 bucket, right, or the any other service, the same way two services needs to be communicated. You have to give the right IAM permissions there. And the use cases for the CRR, the SRR, right? The cross-region replication, always the maybe the compliance issue, or the lower latency access or the replication across the accounts, you can do the cross-region replication. The same region replication or the log aggregation. So most of the people will be using the log aggregation. Let's say you have the logs and you will be aggregating all those logs into the one the single S3 bucket. Then you will be using the SRR. And this needs to be done, or you can do it as a live replication between the production and test accounts. If needed, then you can do the same region replication. So basically to copy the files from one S3 bucket to the different S3 bucket, right? You can use the replication, and replication could happen to the same region replication or the cross region replication. And these replication must be in the same, maybe in the same AWS account or the different AWS account. But the prerequisite for the same region or the cross region replication needs to work. It always needs to be enabled the versioning on the both side of the your S3 buckets. That is the your source S3 bucket or the target S3 bucket here. Okay, so okay, so after you enable the replication, right, the only new objects are being replicated, not the old object. Let's say you have a old objects, 3 old objects, and you created a replication now. The old objects will not be replicated automatically. Actually, there are some options are available, but by default, the only new objects are replicated after create the replication here. The optionally, as I mentioned, you can replicate the existing objects using the S3 batch replication, but this is a different topic than the replication. So how to do that, we will see in the console, but by default, you can think of like by default, you cannot replicate the existing objects to your replicated bucket here. And for the delete operation, you can replicate the delete marker. So we have seen the how to create a delete marker. Can anyone tell me how to create a delete marker? When can the delete marker being created?
When you go and delete the object inside the S3 bucket.
Okay, so what do you enable for that one? To
Version.
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 Yeah. So once you enable the versioning and if you delete the object, right, then the delete markers are created. And this delete marker also can be replicated to your next the target bucket, but it is an optional setting. You can configure this if needed, right? And deletion with the version ID are not replicated to avoid the malicious deletes. Because so let's say you are deleting the particular version ID in the source bucket, that cannot be replicated to the your target bucket because it is a malicious operation, right? So something is deleted, those are not deleted, but if it is a delete marker, then that can be replicated because we can recover the objects from the delete marker, not from the deletion operation. That's why it is not replicated to your target bucket, the particular version ID deletion. So there is no chaining of replication. Basically, let's say you have a 3 buckets, bucket 1, 2, 3. Okay, if you replicated from the bucket 1 to bucket 2, and from the bucket 2 to bucket 3, it is not going to replicate from bucket 1 to bucket 3. There is no chaining of operation. If you want it from the bucket 1 to bucket 3, what you have to do, you have to configure one more replication rule from the bucket 1 to bucket 3. Everyone clear on this? The chaining operation. So let's say I'll put bucket 1 to bucket 2, and so this is done. Again, bucket 2 to bucket 3. So the mass formula, right? A to B, B to C, then A to C, right? But it is not applicable here. B1 to B2, bucket 1 to bucket 2, and bucket 2 to bucket 3. It doesn't mean bucket 1 to bucket 3 is replicated automatically. If you wanted bucket 1 to bucket 3 being replicated, then you have to do is bucket 1 to bucket 3 replication, one more. You have to configure here. Okay, there is no chaining operation here. Okay, everyone clear on this? Any questions, confusion here? Okay. So now,
Can we do a practical, sir? Like,
sorry,
can you show that?
we barely hear you, Pankaj.
I mean, like, can it's okay. Let me just practice. Then I will come back to you for the question.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, yeah. So go to your S3 bucket and then go to the management. So you have to remember or make some notes where what all settings are under which. So in the properties, we talked about the versioning for now, right? And then the static website hosting on the properties. And the under permissions, we have enabled the block public access and the bucket policy for now, right? Now we are going to the management tab here. Under management tab, you have to create a replication rule here. So create a replication rule. For the replication rule, what are the prerequisites here? What we should have at least 2 S3 buckets, right? And versioning should be enabled on both the S3 buckets, right? The enable versioning in source and destination bucket. So first we have to create a source and destination buckets first. Then we'll come to the replication rule. Okay, so buckets. We will see create bucket. SRC source. The same way, I'll create a one more bucket. Target. The same setting, same create bucket. So I have created 2 buckets. One is source and one is target. Okay. So let's say I upload a file. Does it automatically uploads to your target bucket? Anyone? I upload a file into the source bucket. Does it automatically uploads the files to your target bucket? Any responses, please?
Yes, it does.
It will? No, we haven't configured any replication rule and all, right? How it will be replicated though, right? So by default, it will not be replicated to your target bucket automatically, right? For that, what you have to do, you have to create a replication rule, right? That's where you have to mention what is your source bucket and target bucket. Then it will going to replicate them. So here, go to your source bucket, go to the management and create a replication rule here. So you see here, replication requires the versioning to be enabled for the source bucket. Enable the object versioning. So you can directly choose here, or which tab versioning would be here on the source bucket. Anyone?
So we come again on that, Raj.
So versioning can be enabled from the which tabs here?
Properties.
Properties and bucket versioning. So that is the prerequisite, right? The versioning needs to be enabled on your source and target bucket. So we will get error here also. So let me enable here as well. Bucket versioning, enable. So I have enabled the versioning on the both the source and target buckets now. So if you go here, I have enabled the versioning and the source and destination buckets are created. Right now, let me go back to the source bucket here. Go to the management and create a replication rule. Replication rule and rule ID. Demo. Replication rule. Okay, so the status is enabled and you have to select the source bucket. The source bucket is same, so it automatically picks up SRC source and choose the rule scope. Limit the scope to the rule using the one or more filters here. You can give the prefixes here. So one more thing we haven't done this. Let me quickly do that. So let's say what you have to do. We have uploaded the files inside of this, but you have the option of creating a folder here. So maybe a demo folder. So inside of this, you can upload a files now. So if I upload a file inside of this, no, that file, or inside of this again you can add a. So this is under the demo folder. You can create a one more folder here, right? Demo 2. Here. So let me upload a file here. So if I go here, then this is the complete object URL path. Now basically your the bucket, then the folder. So this is the complete key we can say within your S3 bucket. So your bucket name basically, then your folder path and the key path, the complete path, right? So let me go back to the creation of the role. So we just given the role, the replication rule name enabled, and what is your source bucket, and you can limit to the particular rule, particular folder here, or you can apply to all the objects within your S3 bucket. Now choosing the destination bucket. This destination bucket could be in this account or bucket in the another account. So if you specify the another account, you have to give the what is your account ID, the unique ID. How do you fetch the unique ID? Click on your name on right hand top here. This is your account ID. And the bucket name, you can give the what is your destination bucket. But choose the bucket in this account. I'll choose this from this account. And let me copy this target bucket name, and it will fetch automatically under which what is the destination region. So it is in the same region, right? So you can configure, or if you have the bucket in different region also. So this is a SRR now, no? Same region replication. But you can do the cross region replication also. If the bucket is in different region, then when you say region in this different region, then that is a CRR, cross region replication. So here, what is the IAM role? This IAM role is nothing but, so as I was saying here, right? So if you go back to here, you must give the proper IAM permissions to S3, right? So if wanted to communicate two resources within AWS, always it should have the right IAM permission. Then only it can be communicated to one to another here. So IAM role, choose from the existing role. If you have a role already created, you can choose that, or let's create a new role. If you created this new role automatically, what role will does is it gives the right permissions from your source bucket to your destination buckets to give the required permissions automatically. Okay, so I'll leave all the default options and we'll talk about this additional replication options a little bit. So let's save it. Okay. Now, once you save this one, this is what I was talking, right? So you cannot, by default, you cannot upload the existing object. So in the existing bucket, right, or the, let me go back to the bucket. in the source bucket, we have a one objects automatically, right? One objects we have already there. Okay. So if you want to upload that objects to the your target bucket, the existing objects, then what you have to do, yes, replicate the existing objects here. If you want to do this, then there is a batch operation, it will happen. So you can enable the one-time batch operation. So this will be casting again. So please do not do this. Just that, no, do not replicate the existing objects and just submit it. So that it will not upload the existing object, but it will just the subsequent or the next once it is enabled, the objects which you're going to upload from the next time, it is make sure that it will upload those objects. So for now, I'm saying no, do not replicate the existing objects here. Okay, the already this object is there, right? It will not gonna upload to this bucket at the target bucket. So if you refresh this one, there will be no buckets here, right? So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna upload a file to my source bucket now. Okay, so let's click to. I just uploaded objects into the pic2. It will be 100% here. You can see here. Now pic2 is uploaded. Let me go back to the target bucket here. Just give it a few seconds. Now you see there is an object, right? So this is a asynchronous application. So once you upload to your target bucket, within few seconds, it will be available with in the your target bucket automatically, right? So if you have the some data needs to be uploaded to dev and that needs to be uploaded to QA automatically, you can use this same region or class region replication. It doesn't matter, right? You just need to enable the right values here where needs to be created, right? You can create a one more rule here basically. The rule name and the priority enabled, and you just need to select the source and target buckets. It could be in the same account or different account or same region or the different region. You select this, and once you upload the files to your the source bucket, it automatically makes sure that the objects are automatically replicated to your target bucket here. So, but the prerequisites here is the versioning needs to be enabled. From the exam perspective, you have to remember versioning needs to be enabled on the source and destination bucket, both the buckets. And these buckets can be in the different AWS accounts, and it copies asynchronously, and you should give the proper IAM permissions. So let's go back to that and let's see what all IAM permissions it created automatically, right? Let's see, go back to here, and you see destination bucket rule, application configuration. Okay, here you see IAM role. So click on IAM role and see what all permissions it is being added here. Let's see. So that will be in under the IAM permissions. If you see S3, CRR, cross-region replication. So they created automatically. If you see S3 permissions under our source. So if you see here, right, two things. It is at the bucket level and it is at the object level. When you say /star, all the objects within your S3 bucket, the same thing, source and target bucket, source bucket, target bucket, all the objects within your source, all the objects within your target. The same thing, replicate permissions, they are giving the replicate permissions here. Okay, any questions anyone so far here?
So basically the permissions are also replicated as it is.
Permissions
on the object.
Yeah, so we have to give the right permissions, right? Then only the replicate permissions are given here.
No, what I mean is, for example, that file that was there, the object that was there in the S3, the source object.
Okay.
Suppose if it has only read access, then even when it gets replicated to the target, even that object will have only read permission, right?
From where you're saying? You mean the IAM user?
The IAM user, yeah.
Yeah, that you can configure, no? That so let's say here the IAM user. So here, if you have the permission, right? If you have the full permissions, everything can be accessed. But if you limit to the single S3 bucket or the two S3 buckets, right? Which I have shown, right? If you go here, add, create inline policy. This one. So here, the whatever the resources you have mentioned here, based on that, it will be having permission. If it is all the S3 buckets read permissions, it will be
Yeah.
only read to all the S3 buckets.
Yeah, but this is on the source object, right?
No, both are in the, so in our case, both are in the same AWS account, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it will be applicable to all here.
Okay, so this whatever permissions are there on the source file, the same will be replicated. The same permissions will be on the target as well, right? On the target files.
Where you're saying, you mean in the IAM user, you're saying?
On the file. So the file that you replicated.
Right, yeah, this file. Right.
So go to permissions.
Uh-huh.
So whatever permissions are here on
Okay,
this
yeah,
file.
you're saying this permissions. Okay, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if this file, when it is replicated to the target bucket, it will have this exact same permissions, right? On the
That's
target
right.
as well.
That's right. Yeah.
So basically the files are replicated with the permissions as it is.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Now, what in case if we replicate it to a different account?
What if you want to replicate to different account?
Yeah. So for example, you have an account and you're replicating a file from your account to my Amazon account.
Yeah. Do you created your AWS account? I mean, do you someone logged into your AWS account? We can try that if needed.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So what I'll do is let me create a, but I need a account ID and the one S3 bucket name from your.
So I have created an account. So
Anyone logged into your AWS account right now?
Yes, I'm logged in. Yeah.
Okay, you're logged in, or just share your screen. Let's create one bucket there. Okay, anyone else logged in already?
You want me to share my screen?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Okay, go to S3. Create bucket. I give like any your name, then the hyphen. Hyphen US East one. I mean, just say just put target.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. It's fine. Yeah, just scroll all the way down. Down. Enable versioning here. So the for the CRR process SRR, the versioning is must, right? So we'll
Right.
give an error later also. Yeah, just scroll down and create bucket.
Just a minute. Okay. So server-side encryption. All this is default, right? Encryption.
Yeah, default.
Okay. Bucket.
Created bucket, right? Now,
yeah.
Now I need account number. Can you please click on your name on right hand top? Below. The AWS account.
Yeah.
Okay, account ID.
Paste it in the Zoom chat.
And the bucket name. Okay, please stop your screen share. I'll let me share your screen.
Okay.
Okay, let me know once you see my screen back.
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm creating a one more replication role. So let me go back here. So you have one replication role. You can create a multiple replication role here.
Mhm.
It is a cross account. You are created under which region there?
I think it was Mumbai.
Okay, yeah. So this is covering the cross account and the cross region as well, right? So
Yeah.
both are covering. So
Yeah, that's AP South
account
1.
replication CRR, right? That's fine. Yeah, it'll fetch here, but let's see. Okay, so the status is enabled. The source bucket is this. It applies to all the objects. I'm applying to all the objects within this bucket. Choose the bucket in this account or the another account, right? So when you
Yeah.
specify another account, you have to specify your
Account ID.
account ID here.
Yeah.
12-digit account ID, which we copied from the other AWS account. Now the bucket name. Now, if you see, it is fetched automatically, the Mumbai region, right?
Yeah.
See, the IAM role associated with this configuration might not have the correct permissions for this new destination. So, choose this. So what I'll do, I'll create a new role here. Save. No, no. I'm saying, so do you want to replicate the existing object? I'm saying no, do not replicate the existing objects. Okay. I'll go back here and let's see go to the management and let's see now permissions are changed, right? Application rules. Yes.
I think someone needs to go on mute, I think. Okay, so let's see. I'll go back to my and let me try to upload a file here. So can anyone guess how many accounts it is going to upload to now? Or how many S3 buckets? So the replication we put two right here. So what it needs to be done? Any guesses, anyone? What is that? Come again, Raj? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so we have the two replication rules, right? Two different destination bucket. So I uploaded to my source bucket. Can anyone guess how many AWS S3 buckets it is going to upload to? One or two?
No, it'll upload only to the one that you uploaded to, right? So only one.
No. I'm saying once the uploaded to source region, it will upload to
only one target.
No, both the targets, right? It has the two targets here.
Okay.
This one and this one. So
you specified both as targets. Okay.
Right. So
that's one too many is also possible.
Right. That's right.
Okay.
So this is source. We go back to the target. Now, can you please verify from your end of that? Now I see the index.html is uploaded here in the my target bucket.
Yeah, I'm just refreshing.
Can you see?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I think it will take some time. It's coming from US to Mumbai, so.
Give it a few seconds and we'll try that. But any questions meanwhile, anyone? Everyone clear what we are doing here, what we are trying to do here?
Yes. Clear.
Still not there.
So somewhere we can see.
Now, is there a way to check from source whether its
Yeah,
replication was successful?
right. There is some way. I'm just checking where it is. Okay, so the management convey, you see replication status has failed.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is under the, you have to go to your particular object index.html. Then the properties, under properties, there is a field. View replication status. It's not showing any. Index.html, and it is just saying the field. Bucket versioning enabled in the replication rule applied to the object within the replication cell indicates the progress of the application. With the replication rule, it is saying just saying field, but no reason here.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else we can do? Has the, okay, so let's go here. Let me try one thing. Maybe
Yeah.
the public access, right, or the cross account access to our S3 bucket. We do not give anything to our S3 bucket basically. Okay, so let's do this thing. So we have one more bucket here, right? So this one, management, application, see enablement, apply to all objects, specific. Say no. So let me upload a file inside of this bucket. Okay, can you try now?
Yeah. No. Still not there.
Still showing. Let's see. Oh, it's failed again. Not sure, but it is not giving why it is failed. Okay.
Yeah. Maybe something in the permissions. Or is it because it's in a different region or something?
No, there is no, but yeah, I'll figure that out, and maybe the next class I'll let you know why it is failed. Okay.
Okay, fine. Yeah, sure.
But yeah, these are the configuration basically. So you have to create a replication rule. Or let's see if we can do something there. Create a replication rule. Let's see. It's going to be object of the expression rule. EM rule is this. Okay. Yeah, we will see. I'll let you know why it failed. Okay. So
Okay, yeah.
the one more thing is what we can do is when we create a replication role, right here, replication rule basically. So here we talked right from the slides. We say delete markers can be replicated to your the secondary or the destination bucket here, right? So, but the not the exact delete. So if you delete, that is a malicious operation. We don't want to delete that. We do not have that option. But the delete marker can be replicated. So you have the additional replication options if we haven't enabled any. But this is the important one. Delete markers can be replicated to your the target buckets. Okay. If I go back to slides here, the further delete operation can replicate the delete markers from the source to target optional setting. But if you have the deletes cannot be replicated, but only the delete markers can be replicated. This is important from the exam perspective. Okay. So any questions, anyone so far?
I was looking at the properties of the bucket, and I also see there is something called as acceleration, transfer
Yeah,
acceleration.
we'll talk about that
Okay.
in the next slides. Okay.
Hmm.
So let's take a short break and we will be back at after 15 minutes.
Yeah, 12-15
12,
maybe.
12. Yeah, okay, if any questions, please let me know. I'll pass the recording for some time. Let me know guys once you see my screen back. Okay. Can anyone confirm?
Yes, can see your screen.
Okay. Okay, so the next topic would be the storage classes. So please pay attention here. The exam definitely will test you on the different storage classes available within the S3. So we talked about two important topics recently, the EC2 and S3. So these two topics will be covering around 30 or 40, around 40% of the questions around these two topics. When I say EC2, all the features like EBS and the auto scaling group, load balancer, and the instance type and purchase options. So all the different topics within the EC2, we will get so many questions around the S3 and the EC2 itself. So again, load balancer and auto scaling group are the part of the EC2 dashboard only, right? So I'm talking about those two. I mean EC2 dashboard basically and the S3. So this storage classes, definitely 1-2 questions would be there around this storage classes. So please pay attention here. So as of now, we have seen like how to upload the objects or do the cross-region replication or enable the versioning or the enabling the static website posting. But how do you what basis the S3 costs you, right? So that depends on the storage class you're gonna choose. So the storage classes, there are the different storage classes available within the S3. That is the S3 standard. That is a general purpose storage class. Then the S3 standard IA. IA stands for the infrequent access. So if your objects is not frequently accessed, then move them to the standard IA, right? So that will save you some cost. So the S3 standard will, let's say 10 cents. Then S3 standard IA may have the 7 or 8 cents. So less cost compared to the S3 standard. And the S3 one zone IA, the S3 one zone IA, when we say one zone, that is this saves in a single availability zone. But other than this one zone IA, it saves in more than at least three availability zones. We will see that screen. So what S3 will do is it will be saving data in at least 3 availability zones. So how it will save and what is the availability and SLA it gives, and we'll see that. But think of like the one zone IA, it will be in single availability zone. But other than this, it will be saved in at least 3 availability zone, all other storage classes here. And if it is an archival purpose for the long time, then you can move them to the Glacier. In the Glacier, we have the 3 different types here. instant retrieval, flexible retrieval, and deep archive. We will talk about each one of these in a great detail in coming slides here. And then the intelligent tiering. So this intelligent tiering, what intelligent tiering will do is automatically based on your usage pattern, the object will be moved to the different storage class automatically that AWS will be taking care. But for the monitoring purpose, so what AWS will be doing in the background is it will monitor your usage pattern, and based on your usage pattern, it will move to the right storage class. And you can move all these storage classes manually or using the S3 lifecycle configuration. So we will see how we can configure the S3 lifecycle configuration here. So before jumping into the storage classes about all these different storage classes, first we need to talk about the durability and the availability, two different terms here again. So before in the EC2, we talked about the high availability and the scalability, right? The same way here, durability and availability here. So the durability means how durable your object is. So if you put so many objects, right? So what is the loss of the objects, or how many objects can be lost if you store so many objects, right? So if you store here, if you see there are 10 million objects, if you store 10 million objects within the S3, you can average expect to lose a single object once every 10 years. You see, so this is the high durability. It is a 11 nines here, 99.99999 and 11 nines here across the multiple availability zones, except the so this will be less for the one zone, but except one zone, it is 11 nines across the all other storage classes. When you see 99.9999, so it is almost the 100%, right? So S3 is a almost 100% durable. So if you store 10 million objects, there is a chance that one object will be lost once every 10 years, right? So this is very high durable, right? So this is same for all storage classes except for the one zone IA, we will see that, but it is a highly durable. S3 is a highly durable service, and it is 11 nines it is providing. Okay, what about the availability, right? So what is availability, right? Availability measures the how readily your service is available is. So it varies depending on the storage class, but if it is a standard, then 99.99% availability. It is what is this meaning, right? This 99.99% availability means what AWS is providing is 99.99% availability. What it means is it is not available for the rest of the 0.01%, right? That means the 53 minutes in a year it is not available, may not be available. This is what the availability given by the AWS and 99.99%, and durability is 1911 basically. So we will talk about each one of the different storage classes and how much they're going to provide. So the standard, it is a general purpose, right? So if you do not know the pattern of the your storage, S3 storage, or if it is a frequently accessed data, you can go with the S3 standard, and it is providing the 99.99% availability. Again, availability means how readily your service is available. Okay, it provides the low latency and high throughput for the standard with the standard storage class here, and is sustained two concurrent facility failures. When we say two concurrent facility failures, it means the data is stored in the different availability zones, right? So that's where it can sustain the two concurrent facility failures also. The next we will talk about the infrequent access. The infrequent access means if your data is less frequently accessed, but required a rapid access when needed. So there are we will talk about the archiving storage glacier. There it requires it will be the rapid access is not, so when you require when you try to read a object, it will take some time before it downloading to further read. But if you need a rapid access, then you can go with this storage class standard IA, the one zone IA, and this will lower the cost than the S3 standard. So how much cost for the S3 standard and S3 IA we will see in the coming slides here. But if you want if it is a less frequently accessed, then you can go with the S3 standard IA, infrequent access, S3 standard IA. Then it is also 99.9 available. If you see, if you 99.99% available, it is just 19 lesser here. And use cases is if it is if you want to store a backup copy or the disaster recovery copy, then you can go with the standard IA because it is a less cost than the S3 standard. And S3 one zone IA infrequent access, S3 one zone IA infrequent access. It is stored in a single availability zone only. It is stored in a single availability zone, but it is also providing the 11 nines durability here, right? And it's in a single availability zone. And the data is lost when the availability zone is destroyed here. So what are the use cases for this one, right? So we have we cannot, there is a chance that data may loss if the availability zone is destroyed. So what are the use cases for the one zone IA, right? If you want to store
I have
secondary copies of data, sorry, Omkesh.
Sir, I have one question here. Like, in a single, like, data is lost when a easy is destroyed. Is there a possibility that whole easy is destroyed?
Actually, no, but we never know, right? If the disaster happens, then it may be, right. But as of now, it is not happened, right? So when we say it may be lost, not the data loss, maybe down also. If
Okay.
the power cut or if the disaster happened, but the temporary power cuts, right? But we haven't seen the data lost itself by the complete availability zone, right?
Okay.
Okay. But what they are saying is they will store your data in a single availability zone. Okay. If the whole zone goes down, then there will be your application will be down, right? Or if there is a disaster happen, then it will be the data center will be destroyed completely, right? Then there might be a chance that data will be lost. Okay. If you have the secondary copies of data or the data can be recreated very easily, then you can go with the one zone IA. Okay. But there is a data loss chance that you don't want to take this, then do not go with the one zone IA here. Okay. So then the next cost will be the low cost or the object meant for archiving or the backup purpose. Then the price which is very less for the Glacier type here. Instead of Glacier, we have the 3 different types within the Glacier. The instant retrieval, when you say instant retrieval, right? So it is if you stored in a Glacier instant retrieval. So what will happen is you can read the data or get the data very quickly. The millisecond retrieval, if you see here. So how these are differentiated is the if you want to read it immediately in the millisecond retrieval, then you can go with the instant retrieval here. And when do you go with the instant retrieval, right? It is a great for the data accessed once in a quarter. So every 90 days, if you want to access the data, then you can go with the instant retrieval here. But if you want to go with the Glacier flexible retrieval, right? Formerly, there was only Glacier was there, but the Glacier came up with the 3 different type within the Glacier here. Within the Glacier flexible retrieval, there is a expedited 1 to 5 minutes retrieval time. If it is a standard, then it is a 3 to 5 hours. It is a bulk 5 to 12 hours for the retrieval. And it is the minimum storage duration is for the 90 days. Then you can go with the flexible. If the deep archive, it is for the long time storage only. So we can take an example of let's say uh, the hospital data, right? We cannot access that data more than, if it is a more than 90 days, we may not access it for the long regularly. So, but for the long term storage, if we want to go, then we can go with the deep archive, and the standard is 12 hours, bulk is 48 hours at least for the retrieving of the data. Okay. So other than this, there is an intelligent tiering, right? So it is a small monthly monitoring fee, and the auto tiering fee is there, because what this will be taken care by the AWS based on our usage pattern. The data storage class will be moved automatically based on our usage pattern. So moves the objects automatically between the access tiers based on our usage. There is no retrieval charges, but there is a monitoring fee, small monitoring fee here. So any questions, anyone here? So this is the slide where let me go to this. So I'll make sure I'll be providing this link. So please go through this link, and this will tell us like what are the use cases, when to use which storage class, right?
So Raj, again here, can we mount, or can we use the S3 bucket or the S3 storage by formatting it into a native operating system storage type.
Sorry, what is that question?
So for example, if I have an S3 bucket, can I use it as a storage on an on-prem server or say a virtual server?
Yeah,
So,
you can use that. Yes.
so basically, I format it into a Linux or a Windows type
Basically, you
file
can
system, and then
integrate this one with the your on-prem system also. But yeah, what is the follow-up question on that?
yeah, the same thing. I mean, if I can mount it on a on a third-party server out of AWS, and
Yeah,
then
we
can I
can do
use it
that.
as a normal file system?
Yes, you can do that.
Okay.
Okay, so if you go here, storage classes. So if you see here, so this is the, I'll ask you, all of you to read this slide before going into the exam. Okay. So this is the use cases. So the S3 standard is general purpose storage classes and frequently accessed data. Okay. And the there is the S3 standard IA, infrequently accessed, but that needs a millisecond access. The one zone IA, generally recreatable data, infrequently accessed data. Okay, IA. So if it is a IA, then if you are in exam, if it is asking for infrequently accessed, you can think of the S3 standard or one zone IA. Okay, so if they are saying they need a millisecond and infrequently accessed, or if it is a recreatable data, then you can go with the one zone IA. If it is a infrequently accessed and milliseconds for the loads, then you can go with the standard IA. Okay, then the glacier types, right? So instant retrieval, or the flexible retrieval, or the deep archive, right? So you can see what are the use cases for this one, right? So if you see what are the durability for the S3, right? So if you see durability is 11.9 across all the storage types here. What is the availability? So the standard, these are the 11.9s here. But if you see the one zone IA, it is a 99.5% only availability. What is the SLA given to availability SLA? The 99.5, it is a less for the, again, one zone again here. Okay, so availability zone which we talked, right? So it is a greater than or equal to 3, right? So it means it will store your objects at least in three availability zones in all of these storage type, except this one zone IA. This express one zone IA is a recent one, so do not worry about this. But S3 one zone IA, it is it stores in a single availability zone here. Okay, so you have to so exam will ask you in such a way that I'll ask you one simple question out of this. So I wanted a cheap cost solution, storage class solution, but I can bear a loss of data, or the data can be recreatable. So which storage type you gonna go with? Anyone?
One zone IA.
One zone IA, right? Yeah, that's right. So recreatable data or the backup data, then you can go with the one zone IA, S3 one zone IA, right? So I do not know the workload pattern, but I don't want to manage from my end. I want AWS to manage my storage classes type. So which storage class I can go with? I do not know my pattern, but I want AWS to manage my storage classes automatically to move around the different storage classes.
Intelligent.
Intelligent, right?
Tiering.
Intelligent tiering, yes. Yeah. So automatic cost saving for the data with the unknown or the changing the access pattern. So what AWS will be doing is AWS will be monitoring your usage pattern, and it will move across the different storage classes automatically, maybe S3 standard or S3 standard, yeah, these storage classes automatically. Okay. So I'll ask before going into the exam, this is important to read. Definitely one or two questions is there out of the 60 questions are. So please go through this site. I'll mention this, or you can type the S3 storage classes, and first link will be this. So you can read about each one of these, or you can go through. Once you read about this one, then you can go to this chart, and please be prepared before going into the exam. Okay. Okay, so this we talked about the store changing the or moving the different between different storage classes, right? So you can automate this storage class move between different storage classes by ourselves using the life cycle configuration here, right? So to set the transition objects to another storage class automatically, then use the lifecycle configuration here. And you can, when you want, or when your objects are infrequently accessed, you might transition them to the S3 standard IS storage class, right? So for example, S3 standard class here, the first one you created, when you created an object, you stored in the S3 standard. But if you are not using this frequently, then you can move that to the S3 standard again for the cost saving here. So I think I have a slide open. Let's see. Storage comparison, but maybe I'll send that. But yeah, so the standard class will be the highest cost, then the standard IA is less cost, okay? But you might want to archive these objects. So whenever you see in the exam archive, you always think about the Glacier types only. So these Glacier storage classes are meant for the archiving purpose only, or the backup purpose for the long time retrieval, long time storage type. You can go with the Glacier. These are very cheap compared to the other storage classes here. And this moving these objects an automated way using the lifecycle rule, you can transition these objects to different classes using the lifecycle rule automatically. Okay. And so, okay. So the event notification. So today we talked about the SNS topic and the SQS queues, right? And we haven't talked about the Lambda yet. It is a serverless solution where you can run your application code into the Lambda function. The microservice based architecture, right? You can create multiple Lambda functions for each microservice there. So what is the event notification, right here? So in S3, let's say you created object, you deleted object. Someone today asked, when do we use the SNS topic, right? So you can use your SNS topic to configure. Let's say someone deleted an object from your S3 bucket. Then what you can do is you can configure the SNS topic to be triggered whenever someone deleted a S3 object from your S3 bucket. Okay, or someone uploaded object, or someone deleted object, or someone created a replication rule. So from the any operation happening within your S3 object or S3 bucket, basically, then you can notify to these three services only. As of now, it is only integrated with these three services only. Okay, so any operation happening within your S3 bucket, then you can notify these three objects. So that is what the event notification is. S3 event notification, how to configure it, we will see that in the console. So for example, S3 object is created, or S3 object is removed, or S3 object is deleted. In these cases, you can trigger to these three services here, maybe SNS topic or the Lambda function or SQSQ. So if someone asks you S3 event notification, what are the target? These three are the targets. Could be SNS, SQS, or the Lambda function. Okay, can create as many S3 event as desired. You can create multiple S3 events also. And this S3 events are typically delivered in a seconds, but sometimes it takes a minute or longer also. Okay, any questions, anyone on the event notification? Okay, anyone? So these are basically anything, any event happening in your S3 bucket, you can trigger to this target services here: SNS, SQS, and Lambda. You have to remember these three services because S3 event notification as of now supported with these three services only. Okay. Other than these, right? Other than the event notification, so in the event notification, when you set up the event notification, right? What you have to remember is you have to give a right permissions. So today we talked about the SNS, right? Access policy. The same way SQS access policy, we will see one example now. We'll create a one event notification and see how to integrate to S3 events to the SQS. The same way Lambda function. So these are the resource-based policies, right? So SNS, this is an access policy. The resource-based, whenever you hear resource-based policies in the AWS, right? Those are your resources side. The SNS resource-based policy, that is from your SNS resource side. The SQS resource-based policy, that is from the SQS resource side. The same way Lambda function, there is a Lambda resource-based policy from the Lambda. The permissions are managed from your resource side. So create a event notification from your S3 side and manage a permissions from your resource side. It could be SNS, SQS, or the Lambda. Okay, other than the S3 event notification, you can integrate with the event bridge. So we haven't talked about more about event bridge. So this is a CloudWatch setting, a CloudWatch feature. This is the event bridge. So you can integrate S3 with the CloudWatch event bridge also. We haven't seen this yet, so we will discuss more on that. But yeah, I'll show this in the console. With this, the advantage would be so S3 event notification that integrates with the SNS, SQS, and Lambda as of now. But when you integrate with the event bridge, you can integrate with the multiple destinations available. Around the 18 services are you can integrate with. Not only the SNS, SQS, Lambda, you can integrate with the other services also. That is the advantage over the event notification, S3 event notification with the event bridge. So you can integrate more services than those three services. Then you can go with event bridge solution. So let me jump into the console now. So you created one object here, right? So if you see the storage class is standard, it is a folder. So we do not, this is not an object. So there is no storage class here. But if you go inside of this, right? If you go to the where the object is, now you will see the standard here. So I want to move this standard class to the different class, right? So how do you do that? So go here, check the options, edit storage class. Here, I want to go to standard. Yeah, just select that and save changes. If you go here, if you see here, now you see standard again. And when you create an object, right? Let's see how to, where do you see those settings here? Okay, add files. Let me select any file here. Okay, go to the properties here, and here you see the storage classes here. Okay, let me see if I can put it in the same screen. Okay, so the storage classes, as I mentioned, the Express one zone IA, please ignore this one for now. Okay, the standard, this is a frequently accessed data more than once in a month with millisecond access, then you can go with the standard. The intelligent tiering, data with changing or unknown access pattern, the AWS will be taking care of the moving the data to the different storage classes, but there will be a small monitoring cost will be there. The standard IA, infrequently accessed. Whenever you see IA, infrequently accessed data, once in a month with the millisecond access, then you can go with the standard IA. One zone IA, recreatable or infrequently accessed data. So please read this one. So these keywords will be helpful in the exam perspective. If it is a recreatable data, so one zone IA, if it is lost, then data will be lost. So if you have a use case like a recreatable data or the secondary backups or infrequently accessed data within a single availability zone with millisecond access, then you can go with the one zone IA. If your data for the long time archive purpose, then you can go with the instant retrieval or the long-lived archive. So you see, these are the archiving purpose only. So this reduced redundancy also old one. So please do not worry about that. These 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you have to worry about these 6 and please read all of the features. When do you use which one? You can go through all of these and be prepared for the exam perspective. But you can move at any point of time. You can move the object classes or the storage classes between these storage classes at any time. So just now I stored so now I can select in standard or standard IA or one zone class, storage class, and I can upload this object. But once it is uploaded, then what you can do, you can change the storage class also. For example, this one, actions, edit storage class. Now I just want to move it to the standard IA. Save. Right? It is now the storage class is modified to the standard IA. Now you see it is standard IA. But how do you automate this one, right? So you can automate this storage classes using the lifecycle policies, right? Go to the management now. Here we created a replication rule earlier, and the lifecycle under the management here. So let's say I create a lifecycle rule, demo lifecycle rule. Okay, so here you can limit the scope to the particular pattern or all objects you can do. So apply to all objects, I acknowledge it. Now the options would be my current versions of object, right? When we say current version of our object, when you enable the versioning, right, the versions are there, but the current version is nothing but the latest version of the storage object. Okay. So what I wanted to do is after 30 days, I want to move it to the S3 standard IA. Okay. After 60 days, I want to move it to the, let's say, one zone IA. After 90 days, I want to move it to the Glacier instant retrieval. Let's say after 90 days, I want to move it to this one. Okay, so if you scroll down, there is a graph will be shown. So day 0 object created, it will be in the standard, but after 30 days, that data is moved to the standard again. After 60 days of data creation, object is moved to the one zone again. After 90 days, it object is Glacier instant retrieval. Okay, so not only the this option, right? When move the non-concurrent versions of the between the storage class. When we say non-concurrent or non-current, it means the older version. So let's say when you enable the versioning, 1, 2, 3 will be created, right? The 3 will be, let's say 3 will be the latest one, 1, 2 is the non-current versions of the object. So you can expire the current versions of object. When you say expire, the delete the objects. So when you say expire, it means a delete only. Let's say 60 after 60 days. So current versions objects, 0 object is uploaded. After 60 days, objects are expired. It means it is a deleted automatically after the 60 days. So now you see the power, like you can automatically delete or move the objects between the different classes also. There is a permanent delete non-current versions of objects also. This is the current versions, right? You see here, this is a move current versions, move the non-current version. Expect the current version, permanently delete the non-current version. So we don't want the older version of the objects, right? So let's say after 60 days, after 60 days of non-current versions of the objects, you can delete automatically using this setting. So what you have to do, select the non-permanently delete. After 60 days, I don't want these objects needs to be there. If you see non-current version, after 0 day, it become a non-current. And after the 60 days of time, then all the non-current versions are permanently deleted here. Okay, delete the expired object, delete markers are the incomplete delete multi-part upload. So multi-part upload, we haven't seen this, but anything which is not uploaded correctly, then incomplete, not complete one, then you can delete those objects also using this setting here. So now you see the power of life cycle, right? So to make or to save some cost, you can automatically move the storage between the different storage classes here using the life cycle policy here. So any questions, anyone here? So,
or not?
yeah, go ahead. Okay. Okay, so the next one is we talked about the S3 event notification, right? So go here in the properties tab. So in the management tab, we talked about the lifecycle rules and the replication. In the properties, we talked about the versioning, right? We haven't talked about the encryption yet and the, so we will talk about the event notification for now. So create an event notification here. The event notification may be SQS event notification maybe. Okay, let's test with the one SQS here. So the prefix is optional. You can bind it to the different prefixes or the suffixes here. What are the pattern you wanted to do? Or if you leave it blank, it will be applicable to all the objects within your S3 bucket. Okay.
When do we create these notifications? Like,
sorry?
When do we create these notifications, please?
When do you create your notification? Okay, so if it is a sensitive data within your S3 bucket, right? If someone deleted your object, then you want to get it notified, then you can configure this one. Or if it is a sensitive S3 bucket or no one needs to be uploaded, but if someone accidentally uploaded or if someone has the access, if you want to get it notified, you can bind it to the, you see here, all objects creation events or the removal events or the restore events. So you can do pretty much everything. What action is done in your S3 bucket, then you can trigger to this one. Okay, this is with the SNS or the SQL. Okay, but the Lambda function, let's say if your some object is uploaded to your S3 bucket and this object needs to be processed by from code end, from the Lambda function end, then you can trigger it with the, or you can, once the object is uploaded, then it automatically triggers the Lambda function. When we say trigger, the code will be executed once the object is uploaded to S3 bucket. So for example, on the object create event. So once create means the objects are uploaded. It could be from the your put object or the multi-part upload copy or post object to your S3 bucket, then you can configure to Lambda function. What Lambda function will do is, here the Lambda function, in the Lambda function, the code will be executed. So basically Lambda will be invoked from here. Once the object is created or uploaded, Lambda will be invoked and the Lambda function will be run. In the Lambda function, you will be writing code what you want to do with this your object, maybe processing that object or upload that object to different places or extract the data from that objects or whatever you want to do from the Lambda function, you can do with the Lambda function. But if you want to get it notified through the SNS topic, then you can do the SNS topic. The SQS case is you want to get the queue message, right? What object is created or what objects, the object message or object details, basically the object name and the what is the key name and how much size and what all the information you want to put, then you can trigger the SQS queue there. So I'll create one with the object creation with the SQS queue. Are you clear now, Omkash? So I just select the choose the SQS queue here, my SQS, save changes. So now you see there is an error, an unexpected error occurred. So it is basically because you do not have a right access or the access policy is blocking me. So if I go to the access policy on the SQS queue side, it is not allowing me to create from the my S3 bucket basically. So what you have to do, you have to edit the access policy here. Edit. So basically there is a policy generator here, you can see. So SQS queue policy, allow, let me put the principal as SQS. The action would be just a send a message to the my SQS queue. Now you see we are blocking it to the single API operation, but you can give the all operation also, but it is not suggested, right? So do not give the full permissions. We'll see my QARN here. Statement, very good policy. Now you see, so this is what this policy is doing is, it is allowing me to send a message from this queue. Okay, and I'm giving the right permission, then only it is allowing me to send do the event notification here. So once the once this configuration is done, right? So if you go to the your SQS queue now, and go to the send or receive messages here. For messages here. So there will be a test message. Once you do the configuration with your S3 bucket, right? There will be a test message sent here. So you see S3 test event here. The event name is S3 test event. So this message will be automatically for the testing. There will be one message will be sent to the SQS queue. So I'll be deleting that message and let's see. So what we have done, what are the settings we have done from the S3 end? Whenever object is uploaded, we want to get it notified, right? So let's upload one file. Any file. So what is the expectation here? Once the object is uploaded, it should trigger to the your SQS queue. That is the event notification, right? So here let's hold for the message now. Now you see there is an event happened here. So what object we have uploaded? Pic2, right? So click on the your message here. So here down here somewhere there will be a your object name. Okay. So here you see object name, the pic2.png. Because of this, the event source is AWS S3 and region is this. It has all the information. Why it is triggered? The event name is object created, put operation, right? And what is the object name? Here you see there is an object here as the pic2.png. And this is how you can integrate between now we are integrated to different services, right? We have integrated S3 with the SQS now, right? And the same way we can integrate it with the other services also, SQS or the Lambda function also from here. So any questions, anyone here? The event notification. So can anyone tell me what are the targets for the event notification?
What are the What are the, sorry, come again?
What are the targets for the event notification? Destinations. So event service can.
Okay, that can be SQS or Lambda service.
Or the one more is
SQS. The
SNS.
SNS. Yeah, notification.
Yeah, it could be when you do the create event notification, right? It could be three services, one of these three services, Lambda, SNS, or SQS. Okay. So one more we talked right here. If you go down there, event notification, there is an event bridge also. So this event notification only be integrated with three services. But if you go with the event bridge, right, then it can integrate with the multiple services automatically. Okay. But from this slide, you have to remember three services: event notification, main for the SNS, SQS, and the Lambda. Okay, so we have the slides. Okay, so we will cover this topic and I will start. Okay. But any questions so far, anyone? Did you say something, Omkesh? Okay. So the performance side, we'll talk about the S3 baseline performance now. Okay. So here it provides the great performance basically. So you can, what you can do, let's say you have a say one folder. Each folder can write or read up to 5,500 reads per second or the 3,500 writes per second. Okay. So you can think like it is very high, but if it is a huge the big application, it may not be sufficient. So what you have to do is you have to create each folder. So this is not at the bucket level. This is at the folder level. If you want to increase the performance of your S3 bucket, then what you have to do is you have to go with you have to create a different folders basically. When I say different folders, let's say from this example screenshot, this the bucket is pets bucket and the slash cats1, cats2, cats3 or dogs1, dogs2, right? For each one of these folders, right, there will be 5,500 reads and 3,500 writes. So if you want, if it is not sufficient, then what you have to do, you have to create a one more folder, and each folder will be getting the same the reads and write capacity, that 5,500, 3,500. So if you want to increase your the baseline performance of your S3 bucket, then create a number of folders inside of that. So from this diagram, I have the 4 folders, right? So what it is giving me is, it is giving me to achieve 22,000 requests per second get and head. It means the read permissions. But when we say the 12 and the 14,000 writes per second for the write operations. So if you want to increase, if exam will ask you, so it is not useful in day-to-day activity, but if you are crossing these limits, then only. But if exam will ask you, if you want to increase the baseline performance of your S3 bucket, then you have to create a more folders. So each folder will be getting these many reads and write operations per second. Okay, everyone clear on this? Okay, so the other than the read and write operation permissions, right? There is a multi-part upload actually. So what is the multi-part upload will do is it help us to parallelize the upload, hence the speeding of the transfers basically. So what AWS will suggest is, if your file size is greater than the 5 GB, then it is mandatory to use the multi-part upload. Okay, so multi-part upload, how it was, I'll let you know in a second. But yeah, if it is a greater than 5 GB, it is mandatory. But the suggestion would be, if the file size is greater than 100 MB, then it has been recommended to use it as well. Okay, so why it is important, right? It helps us to parallelize the upload. Okay, so how it work is, if you, let's say you have a 1 GB of file here, okay, big file, then what it will do is, once you enable the multi-part upload, your file will be divided into chunks, the smaller chunks actually, and it will divide it, then it will parallelize so each chunk. So if it is a 1 GB, then it has to upload in the sequential manner, right? So 1 GB, 1 MB, 2 MB, 3 MB. But if it is divided into the multiple chunks of, let's say, 100 MB, 100 MB, 100 MB, These 100 MBs are uploaded parallelly. So once it is parallelized the upload, hence it is speeding the transfers, right? So every 100 MB, so instead of sequential, it will just parallelize your uploads. And once these are uploaded to S3, S3 is intelligent enough that this big file will be again combined as a single file. So first multi-part upload, it will divide your files into the multiple chunks. And once it is reached to S3 bucket, S3 is taking care of how to form that object as a single object, whatever it has the same as in your source file there. Okay, so transfer acceleration, I think although you are asking this one, right? That transfer acceleration. So if you remember from the day one, right, we talked about the edge locations there. So what is edge location will do is, so the advantage is from edge location to all the AWS regions, it has their connectivity, own connectivity, or the private connectivity, or AWS their backbone network there. So once you enable the S3 transfer acceleration, right, what it will do is it will transfer the speed of the not only upload, both the upload and download basically. It increases the transfer speed by transferring the file to the your nearest edge location. And then once the file is uploaded to the nearest edge location, then it will forward the data to a S3 bucket in the target region. Okay, so let's take an example here. Okay, so let's someone from the USA, they have a file in USA region, and what they'll do is they will upload the file to nearest edge location, that must be in the USA region. Okay, then from the USA region, instead of going it via the internet, it will go via the AWS private network or the AWS backbone network from the edge location to the S3 bucket. So it will transfer the speeds. That is what the transfer acceleration is. Okay, let's take one more example. Okay, so the edge location, we have so many edge location around. We have the edge location in Hyderabad location or the Mumbai location. So within the region, we have so many edge location. So within the region, how many availability zones we have? Anyone?
3.
3?
Minimum 3.
Minimum 3, maximum is 6 as of now. Okay, it is 3 to 6. Okay, so but within the region, maybe we will be having more than availability zones. So let's say 10 edge locations. That's just a random number, but it's more than availability zones. We have a edge location. So there is definitely a chance that the edge location very near to us. Let's say I want to. So let's say I'm in the Hyderabad region. I want to upload a file to the US region. So what if you enable the transfer acceleration? What it will do is it will first upload the data to my nearest edge location, maybe in Hyderabad location itself. Then from Hyderabad location, the data will be traveled using the AWS private network or the AWS backbone network. So if it is not there, right, transfer acceleration, so how data will be traveled is the data will be traveled over the internet. So if it is traveled over the internet, it will take some time, right? So if you want to reduce some time there, you can go with the transfer acceleration, enable the transfer acceleration. What transfer acceleration doing in the background is it will uploading or the downloading. It is applicable to both upload and download. It will upload the file to your nearest edge location, and from the nearest edge location to travel the data using the AWS backbone network or the private network, and the file will be uploaded to your USA region wherever your S3 bucket is. So everyone clear on this?
Yeah.
Yeah. The same way the multi-part upload, right? This is for the uploads, right? The same way we can reading the object, right? So this is what the S3 byte range fetches actually. So what it will do is the same way it divided when we are uploading the object, it divided into chunks, right? The same way the byte range fetches also. We can read the file in a most efficient way, right? That is what the S3 byte range fetches functionality will do. It is parallelize the get. The same way parallelize the uploads, right? Parallelize the gets by requesting a specific byte range. In case of failure, it is better. It has a better resilience actually. So if some parts are missed, then you can request for that particular byte range also. So the same way upload the downloads also. For the uploads, the multi-part upload, for the downloads, it is a S3 byte range fetches. So the data will be the parallelize the gets by dividing the data into multiple byte range here, and the data will be downloaded here. We can read the data in a efficient way actually. So if some byte range is failed, then you can request for a byte range, request for a header, the particular byte range. You can do the particular, for example, from the screenshot, let's say the part 2 is failed, then you can request for the particular part 2 byte range. You can get the data also. Okay. The next one would be the S3 select. On the performance side, we are talking, right? The S3 select, what it will do is you can write a simple query and you can do a S3 select. So if not, so let's say you have 100 objects, what you have to do, you have to read the objects first from the each one of those objects. So, but what S3 select you can do is you can write a simple SQL query on the server side, and it filter the object and it will give you the right objects by giving the S3 select actually here. So it's based on the SQL statements here. Okay, so the object encryption, this is important, guys. Again, from the exam perspective, maybe we'll take it in the next session. But any questions, anyone from the today's session?
Sir,
Yeah.
I'm really sorry, but mind has like jammed a little. I'm not feeling well also, but can we like, if it's good with everyone, or like I can move out of the meeting?
Sorry?
Like, I can move out of the meeting, like of the class.
Right. We will be stopping the meeting in a second.
I'm not